Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Swimmer Sync 68. It is I, Mad Gamer II, and I am joined by the one and only Dally.
Hello, and today here we have iTop versus, I believe, Red Sun.
Yes, this is going to be our first match of the evening. Anything you can tell us about these two teams?
Well, I've seen Red Sun quite around. I mean, I don't really know like them personally, but I've also seen quite a lot. I've seen a lot more of iTap though, and I've had the honor of playing with Gaysicle before.
Indeed, indeed. Any weapon choices you're expecting to see coming out today?
Um, well, granted, the only player who I actually know fairly well is Gaysicle. I'm sure we're going to be seeing some amazing Tentabrella gameplay.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that. I myself am familiar with the Red Sun as a team. However, they have gone through several, I guess, roster changes, so I'm not quite familiar with the current lineup. But they have had a very aggressive playstyle in the past, so yeah, I guess we'll see what we're going to have in store for us. Our first match is going to be Tower Control on Inkblot Art Academy. I am a fan of this map. Tower Control is not my strongest mode, but it is a heck of a ton of fun.
Oh well, I'm trying not to sneeze, but I quite like tower control. I mean, my weapon pool generally favors Rainmaker and tower control.
Mmm.
Yeah, jet squelcher things, but we're not seeing any of them out right now. We're
Not
seeing
today. Ooh, we do have that Tenderbrella, as you mentioned, alongside a Splatling remix and a Crack on Roller. This is a very interesting lineup, and I have to say, I approve.
I approve though. I'm not sure that build is the most optimal. I'm seeing like two mains of sub power up on there, so these are going to be some really quick beacons. And as for the side of Red Sun, a fairly standard comp that you'd see in general, with the
Yes,
most notable weapon probably being the vanilla dualies, the vanilla dually sculptors.
yes, those are the vanilla dualies. So that's going to be the point sensor and the missiles for this kit. So they're going to be running the double missiles with the Armor Ancient. Two members of each team are currently down, with Red Sun taking the early lead. I think they have got, yes, they got through that first checkpoint right there. However, Inked Technology. Oh. The purple is going to be taking the tower right back and getting the checkpoint of their own.
Oh yeah, you can just call them ITAP. It's
Yes,
like
I tap.
the common name.
It
Well, it
threw
looks
me
like
off
they're
seeing their full
looks like
name
they're
there.
unable to get. It looks like they're almost unable to get that checkpoint. They still got a little bit of silver left.
Yeah, that is
And Red
quite a.
Sun's getting up in numbers. It's time for them to, start overtaking the plat, which is the main area you want to be taken over. Pink plot.
Yes, that is a very key point to be taken over, especially for those first two checkpoints there, because they land right underneath that lip where a lot of the defense likes to hang out. So it's a bit of a gauntlet per se. But we do see three members, a full wipe for Red Sun there. They are not quite able to get past that second checkpoint, but they do increase their lead by just a little bit there. And ITAP is going to be coming back to try that checkpoint once again.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that was quite an interesting thing that the roller did with that movement. Just to jump away immediately, just to roll, get out of dodge. You
Yes, and
normally wouldn't see a crack on roller around because the other variants of roller have better kits. But I'm quite surprised to see like someone taking advantage of the beacons on that weapon. In fact, this comp that ITAP is running has like two beacon weapons, which is a bit overkill, but hey, jump all over the map, I guess.
it is a bit of a small map for double beacons, but they seem to be utilizing them pretty well. Having that drop roller on the roller there, they're able to utilize that speed buff they get from the drop roller, and so it is a pretty handy tool to have when you're a beacon user.
It's of course, and seems like both teams are being quite even. Neither of them are really seeming to get past like that second checkpoint at this point. An inkjet being popped from Red Sun just to try to make something happen. Yeah,
Yeah, we haven't had too big of a wipe since that last push by Red Sun. Both teams are doing an excellent job of just staying alive and keeping the map pretty balanced, but we see Red Sun is taking another stab at that checkpoint and pushing up pretty far ahead. They might just get it this time around. We do see the K shot and the remix go down. And they're already past, yeah, that's 3 down. They're past that second checkpoint.
Yeah, it looks to be so. ITAP's. It looks like I don't think ITAP's comp can really push back
It is a very...
Red Sun very well. They don't have
Yep.
like a lot of bombs to throw. They only have one bomb to throw.
That is very true. They have a very supportive base comp, not a whole lot of aggression versus the very aggressive bomb heavy comp of the Red Sun. They are definitely getting pushed back here as they get closer and closer to spawn. They're doing a great job of holding on to that third checkpoint though, not allowing them to get the KO just yet, but we are down to the last minute and 3 members of Red Sun down. This might be the opportunity they need to get some points on the board. As I said, there are only a minute left in the game though.
Well, there is a minute left on the timer, but that timer can easily extend to become more in overtime. So this next push that ITAP is making has to be done perfectly. It has to be executed perfectly, and with the crack-on roller getting taken out in a baller by the K shot, as well as the 10 somewhere, it's not good.
Yeah, that is not good at all. 3 members are down, and yeah, that's going to be the end of that push for now. They still have another shot at this, but as you said, they are going to have to execute it perfectly in order to take back that sizable lead that they have. And considering they still have another checkpoint to get through, it is going to be incredibly difficult.
Yes, and it doesn't seem like that's going to be possible as ITAP fell down 2 players prematurely. Another one got knocked out, and that is game.
Indeed, GG's to Red Sun. They have taken this first match. Unfortunately, ITAP did get a little bit staggered right at the end there. That allowed Red Sun to solidify their holding. As you can see, there's quite a bit of yellow on that map. Just excellent map coverage by Red Sun. So they will be taking this first match. Yeah, I going back to your point before, the Red Sun definitely had a much more aggressive comp there. I think that played in their favor because of the smaller map. I think if we were playing on a much larger map to utilize those beacons better, I think ITAP would have had a better advantage than they did in this one.
I agree, but I also think that I generally have like a belief that you really only need one beacon weapon on a comp, as bombs are generally the favorite sub-weapon. So I feel like if they had ran a different roller, something, they could have made some different plays offensively instead of having to rely on.
And I think combining that with the point sense of the remix too, that really also that cut into their use of bombs as well. As you said, they only had the one bomb user. I think if they wanted to run the double beacon, they probably should have used something other than the point sensor. That is neither here nor there. We are going on to Rainmaker Snapper Canal.
You know, is it wrong that the only thing that's floating through my mind upon seeing Rainmaker Snapper is Stingray?
Honestly, it was in my mind as well. You see it quite often, not only because of the Rainmaker, but also just because of this particular map in general. It has a lot of open area, allowing for a good vantage point of the opponents to use the Stingray on.
Of course, this is like Stingray Heaven, except that's not my Stingray map, personally, per se. But who knows? ITAP ran a heavy remix. They could run a vanilla heavy on this map if they so wish. And as for Red Sun, I'm not really expecting any changes between their comp. Their comp seems to be very good across multiple maps and modes.
Yeah, so their comp was very, what's the word? As you said, it is good across a bunch of maps and modes. And I think the aggressive playstyle will definitely lend itself to this the Rainmaker. As you point, yeah, pretty much no change in comp for Red Sun, but we do see pretty much an entire swap for the side of ITAP. We have a Blobber, Dualies, and a Squeezer coming out with only the K-Shot remaining.
Well, I guess ITAP really came here to just run some really interesting and wacky comps. Well, actually, I shouldn't say wacky comps. More interesting comps than usual.
They're definitely not the norm. And keeping Red Sun on its toes here, we do see the ITAP going up this left side here with the bomb rush, just clearing out an area. This is, I would say, the more safer route. You usually see teams go this way when there's still a sizable amount of each team up. They've already taken up to 55, although not a sizable lead just yet. They do go 2 members down, and I think that, yeah, that's going to be the end of this push.
Yeah, but I was still you generally want to keep like the objective far away from your own goal. So I think that 55 is all right for now, but ITAP can definitely go for a better lead later on. And it looks like that Red Sun's just gonna let the Rainmaker reset, which they can easily get that pop, but where are they gonna go? And they're gonna opt to go towards the left route, such as like ITAP did.
Yeah, with the 2 members of ITAP down, they weren't in any rush to pick up the Rainmaker just yet. Just getting that respawn and the quick pop. Oh, the Rainmaker does go down pretty early, and already 2 members of Red Sun down, and they haven't quite gotten close to that lead. Is this not going to be able to survive the bomb rush? And they are able to jump out.
Very good jump out by Adamir right there. Best play you could make is sometimes a jump out, because sometimes your life is worth it.
Yeah, the longer you stay alive, the more you're able to do for your team. Speaking of which, we do see that dualies going down here. The K-shot on K-shot duel in the middle, and the Rainmaker is also going to be going down about the same space as Red Sun, and with 3 members down, Red Sun has an opportunity to take it up that center area, which is a much quicker and more point-heavy route. Yes,
Yep,
they quickly
it
get
looks
the
like
lead.
they're able to do that. Vertigo is just doing their best to wedge themselves between that ramp. I think they could have waited a little bit longer to probably get some more points, but they still got the lead at 29, which is also very great in its right on this map.
Going up that center
With
area,
Gasicle popping up bubbles right there, getting a trade on Beam.
a nice use of the bubbles right there. They are able to defend it long enough for the Rainmaker to reset, and just using that bomb rush to regain the map control they need. 2 minutes left on the clock. There's still plenty of time to get that lead. I think Red Sun executed that last play very well. They were able to get the 3 down, which opened up that window there. Normally, it is rather difficult to get up that center area because it is some good point value, but it is much more easily defendable with more of the teammates up. And a nice, wow, nice Inkjet plays right there, taking out 2 members of ITAP there, including the Rainmaker. That's going to set them up for another push.
That was a very great usage of Inkjet right there by Adamir. Or the Rainmaker snipe as well as the Jump Cam snipe was really good. And now Red Sun is preparing to make their another push, popping out missiles. They're gonna opt to go the left route instead, but Bubble stopped the Rainmaker just in time. And Gasicle still trying their best to make a play happen, but no, they got picked off by the dualies.
Yeah, the bubbles are a force to be reckoned with. But still, even though they went several man down, Red Sun is still doing a good job of maintaining control close to the spawn, and they haven't relinquished control of the Rainmaker just yet, although it is about to reset. Honestly, not a bad play right there, as there is only 30 seconds left in the match. They have time to just basically defend at this point.
For ITAP, they have like little time to really make a push. Like they have to get like a miracle play right now. And with the squeezer down, that doesn't seem very likely, but who knows, anything can happen.
1 member of each team currently down, 15 seconds left. They have 15 seconds to pick up that Rainmaker to get into overtime. See, so a 2v1, nice play by the dualies here. They do attempt to pick up the Rainmaker, but they are taken down almost immediately and thus ending the game. Game 2 going to Red Sun. However, it is a play all 3, so we will be going to our 3rd match.
Right. You may have lost the round, but let's go down with a 2-1 and not a 3-0.
Absolutely.
That is my mentality with play all 3.
Yes, with the play all 3, it is having that extra match will lend itself later on. Like, it is not a, like, although they have already won the set, just taking a point off them might help them out for later in the top cut. We will be going to Clam Blitz on the Reef, another favorite map of mine.
I like this map too, except that on a different mode. But Clam Blitz,
I would agree with you there. Is going to be pretty hectic. It is. You pretty much have to get a solid wipe in order to get a good push going, unless you happen to sneak behind their defenses up that. You're honestly on either side if you're able to sneak past them, because the baskets are so close together. It is rather difficult to, I guess, get in there with a solid push.
Yeah, this map can sometimes be difficult to get around and push into. Like you said, there's like two ways you can get in. You can go in just straight from the street, you know, where the bump is, or you can go right into the alley and to the car. And yeet!
That's right, you can come in through the front door, or you can sneak in through the window. Either or is viable.
Nah, I'm coming from the enemy spawn.
They would never see it coming. Ooh, we do see the return of both oh wow, a Tinderella on both sides, and then an Explosher.
I'm actually amazed at something else. Double bubbles from the tide of ITAP.
Is that no? Is that 4 bubbles? What's on that Explosher there? Because we have the Forge Pro.
That's the vanilla.
Okay, so
quad bubbles.
So wow. I mean, it is not the worst comp for Clam Blitz. This might lend if they are able to pull this off well, this will lend itself in their favor. As we said, it is difficult to get a good push going, but with the amount of offense and defensive power they have here, look at the bubbles are coming out. They're able to just, well, unless they miss the basket, they're able to just walk right up and knock on the door without too much loss. However, they are taken down and are unfortunately not able to break open the basket as Red Sun comes back with a push of their own.
Yes, and being down like all members at that time, I think they fumbled that push. They just fumbled it. I don't want to like use any adjectives to describe it. But hey, ITAP has come back. They've successfully stopped up the power clamp from getting in. And now they're looking to regain back control.
Yeah, we're seeing the advantage of having a smaller map. They're quite quickly able to come back from spawn and be on the defense, just keeping Red Sun from able to get a push in their absence. And the bubbles are once again coming out. 3 bubbles are still online. If they can get clams going, they got a decent push ready to execute.
They got like, well, they're down like 1. But, you know, with those bubbles coming out, I'm expecting, like, a giant nuke somewhere in this arena.
At some point, I am looking forward to it. In the meantime, though, we do see Red Sun coming in with another push. Armor is online. Bubbles of their own are online. And Tinderella is setting up for a push up to their basket. And 2 power clams to boot. This is going to be a sizable push if they can get all their clams in.
Yep, and with 3 specials ready on Red Sun, it seems like they're going to be putting out a push, but no! Look! The defensive bubbles come out. And it's not enough to stop the tent.
Unfortunately, although they have quite the defensive power, they don't have quite the popping power that they need with only the Junior and the, I guess, the Forge with a solid bomb weapon or bomb sub-weapon to get that insta-pop, and they weren't quite able to get it off in time before they Red Sun popped open the basket, and they are getting it down to 33, which is still going. 3 members down, and they're able to get it down to 27 points. A pretty darn good lead for this map.
Yeah, that's a good lead, and ITAP's going to have to pull off like some amazing push to recover from that. With 2 power climbs up and ready, they have a good start just to, you know, put a dent on the points.
Yes, they definitely have the clams and able to get the points there. They just need that nuke online. Oh, here we go. We see the jump coming in. And the sneaky beacon in the bubbles. They do get the 1 power clam in, but unfortunately he is the last man up. And it does not quite have any clams left to follow up with it. Still, that is a good start. We still have a minute and a half left. That being said, we Red Sun is doing an excellent job of just collecting the clams as they take over the bridge here. The bridge is one of the key aspects of this map, and maintaining control of that is key for just being able to defend your own basket.
Yeah, bridge. Literally, the bridge in this is like the most important place in the map. You lose control of that, you're definitely gonna lose off on a fight eventually. And with three players down on ITAP, at Red Sun with no clams, I don't think we're going to be seeing another push yet, but I am sure we're going to be seeing a lockout right now. Or not.
The Explorer is doing an excellent job of just using its range to keep the Red Sun at bay, and then that jump in there with the Tentabrilla to the beacon, able to take out the jump camper there. Very well played, very well played. 30 seconds left though, and they still have a decent amount of clams, but not quite enough to get this lead in the first go. They're going to need a sizable follow-up in order to take back the lead. And we see an extreme amount of bubbles coming out, 2 still online, but they're still not quite close enough to the basket to get that pop.
I think they might be. The Tenebrella seems to be in position for some jump-ins right now. I'm seeing like a crap. I can't even tell what's going on within those
There's
bubbles.
Just so many bubbles.
There.
One member of each team down. We are in overtime. One member of ITAP under the basket, but not enough clams. That is going to be game for the side of Red Sun. I was quite impressed by ITAP. I was not expecting the quad bubble comp.
You know what? Neither was I, but you know what? This was very fun to witness, as you're always welcome to try out something new in a tournament, just to see if it works.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would have loved to see the quad bubbles win.
They definitely coordinated their bubbles well. They had 2 bubbles pop at one time, and then they still had 2 in reserve. It was unfortunate we did not get to see the nuke, but I think it was the smarter play as they executed it there.
Yeah, and I actually saw something in stream coordination that I'm going to bring up now. It is ITAP's last SOS team together since they're graduating. Be sure to shout them out on stream. So shout out to ITAP, by the way.
Yes.
Brought to you by Grace.
That was certainly a fun match to watch, and we will be sad to see ITAP going, but we wish them the best in whatever their future endeavors are.
Good luck out there.
For now, we will be going to a short break before round 2, so y'all better stay tuned.
Yep. See.
Welcome back, everyone, to Swim or Sink 68. I said we are going to be gone for a short break, and I meant it. It is I, Mad Gamer II, and joined once again by Dally.
Bonsoir. And today we have Squids of the Filth versus Feeder's Leash crew.
2 very interesting looking teams. I am not quite familiar with either of them just yet, so we will be a bucket full of surprises as far as how these matches are going to go. But needless to say, I am excited to see what they have in store for us.
And I am now wishing that I was playing in this tournament because this map pool is like amazing for me. Like I love, like I'm liking this.
Yeah, Splat Zones on Wahoo World, one of my favorites. Tower Control Manta Maria. Ooh, that is excellent. I have to say, I am not, or I guess I am glad I am in the commentator's chair for Rainmaker Black Belly. Not too big of a fan of Black Belly, to be honest.
Hey, I got like 2 words for you about Rainmaker Black Belly. Stingray.
Yes. Just yes.
Yep, and now we got to go focus on Wahoo Zones. This is probably not going to be an amusement park for a fun day. In fact, we are going to be seeing a lot of, I don't know.
A lot of bubbles by the looks of it. We have Squeezer on both sides, and then a Blobber the side of Feeders.
Ooh, I'm kind of interested in that Squiffer. I haven't really seen a Squiffer in a long time.
Neither have I. It's been a while. We have Squidders of the Filth taking the first zone take. Squiffer is over on the left glass, just trying to wreak some havoc here. But Feeders take it right back, with the Blobber doing some excellent work trying to keep that Squiffer at bay, and they're going to be taking out some nice paint control in this early start of the match.
Yeah, of course, and the feeders also have the Blobber. I mean, Blobber is kind of interesting on this map because it's able to safely attack from many places, as well as paint the zone from behind the ledge.
It's got the nice arc and the range. Oh, 3 members of Squids of the Filth down. They weren't quite able to get the lead here, and now Feeders are going to be getting a sizable lead off of that, able to push right up to the plat area.
Yes, and Bradley there taking advantage of the arc to try and get a pick off, or at least put pressure out on Squids of the Filth. Bubbles being popped to try and get the zone, but no, doesn't seem like. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Battle Blob, right there.
Bradley just going ham over here. As you said, he's got a sizable amount of range and arc, but he went for the close quarters combat right there, taking out the Squeezer in the midst of their own bubbles. He did him dirty. However, we do see Squids able to take the zone here and chewing through their penalties, so they are able to get into some solid points here, almost a lead. But we do see the bubbles from Feeders coming out, able to take that zone right back.
I actually want to tell you something. You missed out on saying he did him a clean.
You're right. I missed the opportunity.
Probably would have said dirty too. But pardon?
I say it would have been quite ironic, actually, the Blobber doing them dirty like that.
Yeah, the ironic bathtub doing someone dirty. And feeders have definitely been able to maintain good control throughout this match. And it seems like they're able to just immediately take control of zone, get a delayed wipe on the Squids of Filth. It's like they've been performing very well, being able to maintain lockouts long enough for them to start chipping away at their penalties, and it takes some points down from the objective.
Yeah, they've been really well coordinated with their special usage, and honestly, their pushing just in general. They're doing good jobs with their 1v1s, not taking... Well, I say that as is Squeezy here goes into a 1v2, taking out 4 members, a full wipe on his own. Alright then.
Good job, Cabby. Please clip that. I would like to see that on from your POV again.
And with that, we are getting to the last 5 points, and I think that's going to be a KO for the Feeders.
Yep, I'm sure that they're very much screaming out, Wahoo! Because I just won on Wahoo.
It would be very fitting indeed. Here I was complimenting them on their excellent coordination and special uses, and then our beloved Squeezer here just takes out the full team on his own.
What's like the JoJo approaching meme? That's
yes.
the Squeezer against the entire team.
Oh man.
Well, like, I'm about to get this quad. Let's hope that they can get it at a quad, because the next match is on Tower Control Manta Maria. And once again, there's like 2 words that are flowing through my mind.
Does it begin with Sting and end with Ray?
Yes, it does.
It is quite a different map, Manta, from Wahoo. We have a more longular map, that is the more technical term, and it does lend itself very well to Stingray weapons.
I'd say that the downside about this is all the walls, because Stingray piercing through walls lessens the damage.
That is also true. Because of the later patch, I still sometimes forget about that and get confused when I don't get the splats that I'm looking for. As you said, with the amount of extra walls here, it does decrease the damage of the Stingray quite a bit. However, because of the tower control mode, it does do an excellent job of just being a good deterrent to stall out the enemy team, even if it doesn't get necessarily the picks that it wants.
Yep. And I'm thinking that we're also might be seeing a blah blah we're on tower control from Bradley. I think we might be seeing the Deco variant, because Suction Bomb Rush is, well, let's just say that's a hard stopper. You don't want to jump on the tower with like 10 suction bombs on it.
I would have to agree with you there. And as you said, going back to those walls here, the Bloblobber will once again have an incredible advantage just able to get around corners and over ledges that are normally inaccessible to straightforward shooters. Well, speaking of straightforward shooters, we are seeing a ballpoint and also a Crapid coming out for the side of Squids of the Filth with the pretty much the same comp for the side of feeders here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be seeing like a vanilla ballpoint in play for once. You don't see that weapon quite a lot. The ballpoint's a vanilla. Inkjet Toxicness.
Wow, I didn't even realize that. Yes, that is quite unusual, and I am excited to see that as well.
Like, I'm already applauding them because they are running what basically I say every ballpoint thing should run. Except the funny thing is that I don't run said gear on my vanilla ballpoint build. I run QR, not Object Shredder.
Well, both have their advantages. I would say I can see the advantage of having the Inkjet on this particular map mode rather than the Ink Storm, as it allows the ballpoint to be a little bit more aggressive, but unfortunately they do go 3 down for the side of Mr. the Filth, and they are already onto their 3rd checkpoint as we're yakking on. This might be the KO before we even finish our sentence. Well, that is game 2. Well done, Feeders Leash crew.
Yeah, that was a very, very quick match. Like, they just straight up just walked in and said, we're winning.
That was pretty much a textbook demonstration of the snowball effect for tower control. They got the ball rolling, and then there was no stopping them.
There's no stopping them, unless you're like a mountain. But I don't think that they were a mountain.
I think they were enough away from shore to not have to worry about any mountains.
Yeah, well, the next map is my favorite map, Rainmaker Black Belly Skate Park. Yay! If there is not a Stingray here, what are you doing?
I would be very surprised if we did not see a Stingray here on this beloved Rainmaker Black Belly Skate Park. I will admit Black Belly or Rainmaker on Black Belly is my more preferred mode. It does. It alters the terrain quite a bit from the other modes, taking out I'm going to say the center column, so it is a lot more open in the middle, and thus only increasing the strength of the Stingray.
Yes, that big column missing does definitely help me out a lot. I'm saying me because I play Custom Jet Sculptor. Hooray! I play the most annoying weapon in the game. Yay! Yay me! Let's see if anyone here is gonna play it. I promise them that I'm not gonna make fun of them.
Honestly, it's been so long since the original Black Belly, I can't even remember what it would like, just how it was playing on it. Because with these, if I remember correctly, it had a lot more walls to have to get around, and that just combine that with the decrease in damage the Stingray has to deal with going through walls, it certainly would have made it, I guess, a lot less deadly.
Yeah, that definitely does follow through from what I'm seeing, but no Stingray from that team, and no, we are actually seeing a ballpoint, a vanilla ballpoint. with
These are,
Squiffer, which, to be honest, those are not very good matchups.
yeah, pretty much the exact same team comps, although we do see the fresh Squiffer landing them a second Inkjet. I'm surprised. We do see the turn of the Bubble Squeezers rather than the Stingray variant, and we do see several members of Squid of the Filth going down. Feeders taking on this opportunity to push up the Rainmaker to 30 and more. Already all the way to the pedestal. Are they able to... Not quite able to get the knockout, but they do
Not
see...
quite, but they are able to get that pop. Bloblobber is amazing at shredding things, and the Bradley picking it up and just knocking it out. That went by so quickly.
Yeah, that was over in a blink of an eye, and just the Bloblobber doing Bloblobber things, I guess.
I applaud Bradley for just breaking the blob stereotype and actually, killing someone. I saw them get the pick and then pick up and then finish it.
Very much subverting expectations there, to be sure. We do see 3-0 for the side of Feeders, but GG's to both teams. It was certainly a fun matchup to watch.
Yep, and I'm glad to see a ballpoint in play, even if, well, they got instantly knocked out.
Any
I still love it.
any ballpoint action is good ballpoint action.
Exactly.
Well, since that is going to be the end of this round, we will be taking another short break. Probably not as short as the last one, as this did go by pretty quickly. But we will be returning with round 3 of Swiss, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to Swimmer Sync 68. It is I, Mad Gamer II, and joined once again by the one and only Dally.
Hello, hello! And I am waiting for something to... Yep, there we go. We have Nanotrasen versus Infinity Rain. And this has been quite the delay to start the match.
Indeed. Yeah. We are getting into this match, and we'll be starting off with Clam Blitz on Humpback Pump Track. We have seen this several times in our SOS, but it still gets more interesting every time we see it.
Yep. We got I'm gonna be expecting like some weapons that are pretty good at just throwing over ledges, like the Tri-Slosher for an example. We don't always see Tri-Sloshers, but Tri-Slosher is pretty good on this map.
I would agree, but any sort of slosher is a good bet for this map. It's got a lot of very uneven terrain. In fact, this would have been a perfect time to bring out that Blob Blobber we were seeing in that past match.
Well, yeah, but Bradley's not playing. And, ooh, I'm already interested. I'm very interested.
Consider me intrigued. We got a double Hydra action going. Ooh, do we have the Kensa sloshing machine for our bucket representation for this map mode? Pretty similar comps other than that. So we have the Gray and Zap and the K-Shot on both teams.
Oh yeah, dude, it looks like we have, well, I guess the same armor weapon. I thought there was same armor weapons, there's just a different choice of aggression. It's K-Machine versus Inkbrush in this case. Aside from that, these comps are like extremely similar outside of their different gear builds. It looks like Infinity Rain is doing a pretty good job at capitalizing a lot of mid control. Meanwhile, they're keeping Nanotrasen back and behind the walls, but looks like control's flipped to be a bit more even now.
Infinity does have the only power clam currently on the map, and we do see one member of Nano going down. The brush is a baller special, so we don't quite have the exact same specials with the splash out and baller, but we do see, that's going to be 3 down for the side of Nano, and a heck ton of clams for the side of Infinity. This is a good start of the push if we can get that power clam in.
They are able to get that in right away. Hydra jumping out, a very good play as you don't want to be wedged in a terrible position with a slow weapon like that. Mm-hmm. And let's see some defense from Nanotrasen. And immediately Infinity Rain is taking a very immediate lead at 14-12. I stand corrected each time as they start throwing in more clams. 5.
Okay, wow. 2 clams like away from
knockout. Holy crap.
All right,
I mean, mind my more excessive language, but that was like gone.
That was a one and done match. Infinity Rain taking the first match in a single KO. Very well executed. They took control of that basket and just held on for just the time they need to get the clams in.
Just like you should in Clam Blitz. Sometimes it's better to keep the clam basket open instead of just forcing everything in.
Very true, very true. I have to say, I'm impressed with the Hydra. They were able to get in and get the ball, the basket broken, but they were able to still survive long enough to jump out. And I think that played a crucial part as they were able to get back into mid and just help support the rest of their team as they were continuing to throw clams in.
Yeah, from what I could tell, the Hydra just got lucky getting in as a whole. And they were able to wedge themselves underneath the ledge just to get out. And it's pretty hard to shoot under a ledge with almost any weapon. But we're moving on to a new map, Splat Zone's Mega Mart. You got any thoughts on this map?
It is certainly a very popular map mode, or maybe not popular, but a very commonly seen map mode. It's definitely one of the more balanced maps, although it does lend more towards the more aggressive playstyle as it is a bit smaller and has a lot of narrow alleyways and nooks and crannies for weapons such as a Tri-Slosher, rollers, and other short-range aggressive weapons to get set up if they can get a foothold in. However, I have seen quite a fair share of E-leaders, so it does not rule out long-range weapons altogether.
Yep. And as a Just Culture player, I can for sure make that true. And I would love to mass produce another E-Leader out of a submission. But hey, we're not seeing E-Leaders, we're seeing Hydras, which may have some fun times here, being able to anchor themselves on the snipe or boxes.
As I guess a more casual Hydra player myself, it is certainly I guess I am glad to see no E-Leaders in sight. It is the mortal enemy of any Splatling. Infinity Rain taking this early lead here, doing an excellent job of maintaining control. Two members of Nano going down for now, but they are already beginning to regroup.
Yep, a regroup is very important, but oh, check that out. The Hydra deciding to just jump and mow the floor on that Hydra. Or the K machine. And we got a bit of a Hydra duel right there. Nothing's going to come out of it though, but you know, those Hydras were both on each other. Inaoi, right here, doing their best to put pressure out. Oh, getting a nice pick off on Bokian.
Props to the Hydra for just the sheer aggression, not afraid to get up in the enemy's face and just push where they need to push. Still maintaining control. Nano hasn't yet to flip the zone in their favor.
Yes, but it could be pretty possible as Infinity Rain didn't have enough painting output on the zone. They're able to take control and oh my lord, look at that Hydra. Deciding to pop out of nowhere and just say die.
That was very impressive. They had just the angle they needed to stop that. It is one of the, I guess, the more difficult positions to defend from, because once they get up to that ledge, it's a lot more difficult to hit them. However, that Hydra did an excellent job of. Okay, that was an unfortunate bomb right there.
Yeah, I was like, how did that hit the porting brush? How did that even connect?
Suction bombs be something else, I tell ya. Two members of Infinity Rain are down, and this is the chance Nano needs to just get through their penalty and put some points on the board of their own.
And well, lucky them, they're able to start putting points on the board as their penalty was quite small. With Minawi down, it looks like they might be having a decent chance at. Wait, I'm wrong. With their Hydra down, something could obviously flip, such as a zone turning neutral, but it looks like they're very quick to start getting that recap.
As several specials are going out, they do flip the zone back in their favor with two members, possibly three, going down for the side of Nano. It looks like that last member was able to jump out just in time, but that's a lot of yellow paint coming out right now.
Yeah. And look at that, Infinity Rain is already eating at their penalty. And soon they'll be starting to take that for the next league, take that down, go for the next league with only 15 points of penalty remaining, and the lead. This is kind of an hour never situation that Nano has to get through. Missiles are being popped as well.
Ooh, we do see that brush going down, and that is just the opening they need. They flip the zone and put on a pretty decent penalty for the side of Infinity Rain, but not, I guess, very large. Two members of Infinity Rain are down though, so that will lend them much more time that they need to get through and get some more points. We're getting popped here. Looks like Infinity Rain is starting to make their move, but they do lose their brush once again. However, they counter that by taking out the sloshing machine mid splashdown. The K-shot also going down, and so they are now devoid of most of their paint, and they are going to have a tough time defending the zone. That being said, the Hydra, three members in a delayed fashion going down with just the brush currently in zone, and they do take down one member of Nano before they... Oh, that is going to be lead.
Yeah, that's lead right there. And to be honest, all Bokion really has to do is just live in pain, but unfortunately the zone is immediately recapped by a baller and some more painting as well. But you know, it's still quickly back into their control. This could be anyone's game at this point. If Infinity Rain is able to get like another secured lockout, they can take the game. But if Nanotrasen keeps the pressure that they've also regained after getting locked out for around like the first 2-3 minutes, this could go either way.
Yes, with 30 seconds left and almost no penalty remaining, Infinity Rain's got a good shot at taking back this lead here. They'll pretty much have to get a knockout to do so. But with one member of Nano down and to make that 2, both of their paints already taken out of the game, it's gonna be
Yeah.
match for the side of Infinity Rain.
That was still a very close match. Like, I knew it was going to end up being extremely close.
Absolutely.
And now for the third match.
Once again, we are a best of 3. You can't count them out just yet. Although they have taken the set, judging by the way that last match went, Tower Control, Sturgeon Shipyard, we might see this come out in favor of Nano.
Who knows? Infinity Rain can also pull something and do the same, as they are the ones in the lead currently. But you are right. This map is very snowball heavy. Tower Control is a very snowball based game mode. So who knows? You could be right. Nanotrasen can just snowball in, say, "Hey, we win."
Take their match and go. I will say, Sturgeon is definitely, when there's no charges around, it can lend itself pretty well to the Splatling class. I think these Hydras are going to have a fun time on this particular map mode. It's got some good points for them to be able to set up on, and I think add that on top of the Tower Control mode, it definitely gonna lend to their strength, I think. More so than, especially with the Hydra class, more so than Zones would, as it is more of a killing machine than a painter. So far we have seen, other than these... Actually, no, we have seen pretty consistent teams comps on both sides, keeping both the Slushing Machine and the Brush for both map modes.
I think they just might be adjusting builds. Who knows? They could obviously be changing their weapon pool a little bit, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know?
Totally. Consistency is definitely a good strength to have.
Yep, and another thing that's been quite consistent is we've seen 3-0 twice.
That is
already.
true.
So is it gonna happen thrice?
We will have to see. Okay, I was not expecting that. Bringing out the Splat Charger Firefin.
Firefin Splat Charger feed the 52 gal. This is exactly what I would be expecting. I'm not going to make the set joke about 52 gal, but I think we might all be thinking about it.
As I said before, short of a charger on the map, Hydra or Splatlings play very well on this particular map. That being said, the charger does as well, and it's going to be a tough contestation for sure. That being said, the 52 does go down early on, but so does the Brush. Infinity Rain taking the early dab here.
Yep, Infinity Rain is just capitalizing on all their advantages. And whoa! What killed them? What killed 2 off tower?
I think that was the charger doing
Triple.
it. The charger doing charger things, popping off the tower, not allowing them to get through that checkpoint. 1 of 2, I might add. 1 less checkpoint than normal.
Yep, getting past that first checkpoint is definitely fairly important. And now, Nanotrasen is going to start getting points on the board and start eating at their next checkpoint.
You were talking about the snowball effect of tower control. When you have 1 less checkpoint to get through, that just increases the snowball effect quite a bit.
And it seems like Nanotrasen was kind of doing a good job. Infinity Rain was kind of just running in a bit more than they needed to at the tower. But now that they're playing defense pretty decently, they should be able to start regaining control, pull up the tower, and pushing back Nanotrasen.
They do take control of the tower, keeping them from getting that second checkpoint, but 25 points, still a pretty sizable lead, although they only have to get through the first checkpoint to get on their way. It's still quite a bit to go.
Yep. And things can obviously end up bad in this map, but if Infinity Rain is able to once again, like we've been saying, get a snowball effect, they're gonna win.
I'm very curious to know the reason for choosing the Fire Fin over the Vanilla, as you would expect Stingray to be the special of choice for a tower control match. It seems to be lending itself to their favor. I can see that utilizing that splash wall can be pretty handy. 3 members of Nano, however, are down, and this might give Infinity Rain a chance to take control of the second checkpoint. But they're not quite able to get the lead, though. That 52 is doing a good job, last man alive, just defending the tower long enough for their team to respawn.
Hey, you remember how I said like earlier Suction Bomb Rush is a pretty good hard stop? I feel like that's
Yes.
kind of like a similar case with like Steam. It's more just which hard stop and sub weapon do you want is the question.
Yeah, that is a fair point.
Let's say that a Suction Bomb Rush is a definite hard stop. I've actually dodged an entire one. But you know what, we're not talking about me, we're talking about this game.
As you also mentioned before, who wouldn't want to get on a tower that has like 10 section bombs on it?
Oh yeah, I would want to do that. In fact, I probably could dodge all of them.
That would be quite
I think
impressive.
maybe this ink brush could do as well.
I would say what is even more impressive, Nano just barely able to hold on to the tower, keeping them from taking the lead by 1 point.
1 point.
And neither team has been able to take over the checkpoint, so they will still have to get through the whole bit again. So that it basically lends a bit of a penalty to them, just stopping them where they did.
Yep. And right then and there, Bokian pushed up with the 52 gal to be sure that they're able to keep players of Infinity Rain from getting in. I believe they're already at the checkpoint too, already eating down at the points. They just got past it. Now is a good chance for them to get the lead. Actually, they just lost tower. Inkbrush getting a pick right on tower. 30 seconds remain.
Yes, they were able to solidify their lead just by a little bit, but they weren't quite able to get the checkpoint just yet. And I'm just now realizing that with the 52 Fire Fan combo, they have a double splash wall. So although they have the Suction Bomb Rush, they don't have... Or they have 2 less Suction Bomb sub-weapons, or just bomb sub-weapons than they normally would.
Well, I mean, generally you'd probably see like four bombs, and then like a secondary sub-weapon like a splash wall.
Yes.
But I don't know, right there, Nanotrasen wins the match, stopping Infinity Rain from getting a 3-0.
It really came down to that second checkpoint there. Nano was able to, even though like neither team was able to get the second checkpoint, but Nano had just enough of a point lead that they were able to just hold on to that last bit there, keeping Infinity Rain from getting the lead. And so Nano will be taking this third match.
Yep, but overall, Infinity Rain has won this match. Very good matches right there. And between two very even teams as well.
Absolutely. And I'm always down to see some splatling on splatling action. It is a fun time.
Only there were ballpoints.
If only. For now, we will have to take another short break. That is going to be the end of our groups. We will be moving on to Top Cut soon. Is there anything we should mention before we move on?
We shall see you after the short break in Top Cut. Like I'm Mac has mentioned.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Swimmer Sync 68. We are currently in the top cut, and it is I, Mad Gave It a Second, and joined by the one and only Dally.
Bonsoir, people, and here we got Hyperflow Feet Friends plus Healthy Diet Food Groups for our first match in Great White Bracket. We are starting things. Oh,
I appreciate the Healthy Diet Food Groups names. This is going to be a fun match, I can tell.
Alright. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty fun match. Starting things off, we are going to be on Rainmaker Starfish main stage. Please bring out Stingray, I beg of you, because you need a hard stop in some way. But also, you know what? This map is pretty annoying to push on because it's basically just 30 to 30s straight off throughout the entire game.
Pretty much. Yes, I would be very surprised, although probably not as disappointed if we don't see a Stingray. Like, it is definitely the special to have for Rainmaker, but I could see them pulling out some other weapons considering the current map.
We shall see. That is true. There are plenty of walls to stop a Stingray, and Stingray isn't always truly the most reliable way of killing something. Starting things off on this best of 5 match. Yes, this is now a best of 5. Because we are in the top cut, and we are seeing a Bamboozler come out from Healthy Diet.
Just full of surprises. We
have
the
Vanilla Jet Squelcher.
Yes, the Vanilla Jet Squelcher, Carbon Roller, and Tent combo. Not only a tent, but a Curler Rush tank at that.
Hey, Curling Bomb Rush can be really helpful in terms of breaking off that Rainmaker. You never know when that might come in handy. And it looks like Healthy Diet Food Groups is the first one to pick up the Rainmaker and start putting in some points. Wait, I guess... Oh, look at that, they just did. And we have Moo here who tried to flank from behind using the Suction Bomb Rush to kind of get some control around the Healthy Diet Food Groups in mid. And they're successful in doing that, helping with the pincer attack. And now Hyperflow is in control of the Rainmaker.
Yeah, their teammates were able to take out the Rainmaker, and then with Moo coming up behind with the Suction Bomb Rush, doing it, just able to take control of that mid area, cutting off the flank, as you said. And so now they're just going to be pushing up and taking some picks, taking the lead as well. Almost a pedestal of Moo's going on a rampage here.
Yeah, Moo's going on a rampage, and that Suction Bomb Rush should be enough to maintain plenty of control around the pedestal. Someone tried to knock it out, but they got cancelled off at one. Moo getting a very nice trade. It getting picked off by Speedy Egg, the Bamboozler. And what an epic lead Hyperflow has gotten so early on in this match.
They are quite literally going to need a knockout in order to take this lead here. However, we do see the Bamboo doing an excellent job of just using his range to zone out the opponents and allowing them time to let the Rainmaker reset. Fortunately, all the enemy team is in mid right now, as we have just seen through that missiles. It would have been quite unfortunate if a team member of the enemy was able to sneak behind and get that cheeky little KO right there. However, we do see Healthy Diet Food Group's going to be taking up the Rainmaker and making a push of their own. But there is some heavy fire coming out as 2 members do go down.
Yep, some heavy fire right in that pit area. You're gonna have a big obstacle to get through as you play the match.
It is certainly one of the tougher points for the path of the Rainmaker. Like, you could take that left side. It is arguable whether it is more or less dangerous considering the terrain. But we do see 2 members of Healthy Food Groups down once again with a third. No, the Bamboo is going on a rampage of their own, taking 2 members down for a total of 3 down for the side of Hyperflow. And so that's going to stop the Rainmaker before it can get too far. BDA here picking up the Rainmaker, going to be taking another push, possibly down this alley area with the Tentarella leading the way. However, with the Vanilla Jet Squelcher up there, they're going to be popping a lot of poison mist just to slow down the Rainmaker and keep them from getting too far. And the missiles are going to be taking them out.
Sorry, I had a little something come up for a moment, but I am back here just to now witness the match.
The Tentarella is trying to make something happen. They do go down. Coconut trying to survive with the... It's just a lot of back and forth here, trying to control the Rainmaker. It is going to reset, however. Healthy Food Group still pushed up pretty far. They could probably make something out of this still.
I believe they can with that quick pick on the K machine. Things are looking pretty good, but you know what? Both teams are even in players, so they might be a bit more patient to push. Picking up the Rainmakers right now, they're looking to see if they can make something happen. Fizzy bombs are being thrown at the Rainmaker from a very high area, just to stall for time.
Ooh, opting to go the jump here. If the Rainmaker can pull this off, that could be some sizable points.
It could be, but they still have to get through a knockout is the thing.
That is true.
And the Rainmaker is on that high area. They're trying to run it. They're trying to run it. And they got the knockout. No. Well, wow. I mean, I should be rooting yes, but like no.
That was a slippery Rainmaker, if I do say so. Getting through the, looks like the ends up there, and the other player respawning, able to get to the pedestal. Very well executed.
Yes, that was a very well executed maneuver just to get the lead.
As I was saying before, taking that left route there, because the Rainmaker is so slow, going through that jump is a bit of a risk, but with the Carbon Roller leading the way, they were able to do it without too much opposition. Yeah, Diet Food Group's taking that first match.
Yes, against like a Carbon Roller, you don't necessarily want to like run and rush in, because you are prone to getting taken out by a very quick one-shot. But we're moving on to the next map, which is Clam Blitz on Snapper Canal.
I think if they're opting to take that Tenterbrella out for another spin, this is definitely the map mode to do so.
Tenterbrella can definitely do a good job pushing through that through the street, all the way straight to the basket. You know, you just pop the shield. If you're playing the bubble one, you just pop your bubbles too. Your team has a straight path to just walk into the basket and just throw the clam in.
A leisurely stroll, as it were. It is certainly quite the defensive capabilities, allowing for a very extended push if they have the clams to back it up.
And as we said with Rainmaker before, this is actually a pretty good Stingray map. Pretty good.
Yes.
Pretty good. You could obviously see like another a Jet Sculptor. The Jet Sculptor switch to C-Jet, but who knows?
I think both Jets would be pretty strong in this map. Considering what they played last match, I could see them bringing back the vanilla. The Poison Mist and the Missile combo is a pretty formidable for Clam Blitz. Just it allows for a lot of zoning around the basket, a lot of defense capability. Considering we didn't see too much of a strong backline presence on the opposite team, the Stingray not necessarily is needed, I'd say. We are going to be hopping into Clam Blitz on Snapper Canal. We are going to be seeing a Tenterbrella on both sides. Very interesting. With also an addition of a Squiffer and a Mini. Moo going for the 52 gal, a strong choice. The Booyah wall combo is definitely going to be very helpful for pushing the basket. Carbon Roller already making some moves.
Yeah, they already went straight for that snipe, and there's no one there, so with the Squiffer just to watch.
Still very early in the match, not a whole lot of clams have spawned just yet. Healthy Diet Food Groups has enough to make a power clam, but, well, that being said, they just got taken down, but they do have enough to make that power clam, and they do. They are on the bit of a defensive at the moment with the Squiffer and the 52 just putting on a lot of pressure. Hub Roller going for the Squiffer but gets taken down. An excellent pick right there. Here comes the Tenterbrella duel, the clash of the Brella shields, and the bubbles are going to be coming out along with the Booyah Bomb, but 3 members of Hyperflow is down, but not before the last member can put in that clam.
Yeah, a single clam push isn't exactly the best thing to lead off at this time, but 2 picks right there from the 52 gal, and at least some points on the board, but Hyperflow does have a substantial lead as they are in the spawn of healthy diet food groups. And they're coming back in with another clam, and they might be able to make something happen, make a better push with this.
Although Moo was the last one remaining, they were able to capitalize on that and just get the 2 picks, and they still were able. They basically held on to control that snipe for the entire time it took for them to respawn, and so they are able to get in 2 more power clams, solidifying their lead.
Yes, and look, and the Mura fan was definitely doing some shim movement right there. They did get picked off, but they got to pick themselves. The trade is pretty good. And that was just a Squiffer from Hyperflow.
Going on some Charger on Charger duel here. The Bamboos doesn't have quite the range of the Squiffer, but it certainly has the killing power. Missiles are online with that Carbon Roller sneaking around somewhere. They have a, I think that is Chicken Rush. Yes, the chickens are coming out as they open the basket for a push of their own.
Yep, the chickens have come out, and it looks like a very solid defense is coming out from Hyperflow and friends. They might be 2 down, but they have their... Oh, they just lost the lead.
The Carbon Roller just sneaking around. It's able to keep the basket for a little bit longer, but unfortunately the bubbles were not able to save them there. That's still, like, that's a good chunk of a lead for them to have, and there's not a whole lot of clams currently in or on the map. We see Moo here going on a 1v1, losing the 1v1 with the Bamboo, although not without help with the from the mini here.
Yep, and the mini getting picked off right by Yumura. Hyperflow. Popping bubbles to shield themselves and stay alive. We're seeing a lot of Tenebrella on Tenebrella actions. Tenebrella is just countering each other's shields.
Yeah, that Tenta Shield is a strong force to be reckoned with, and just using your own Tenta Shield to counter it is certainly a smart play. It just allows your teammates to get a little bit more ground to paint with.
The Carbon Roller right there on you. I thought that the Tenebrella was going to get that one shot there, but I guess not.
Yeah, just Apple being the bane of Hyperflow's existence right now, taking 2 members down, and they are currently backed up into their base with a lot of yellow paint on the map right now.
Yep, Hyperflow really does have like a... They do have some decent clam advantage, but they have to... Oh my god, that shield just got shredded.
It met the combined force of a Bamboozler and a Mini. That was not going to last very long.
Yeah, that definitely was quick to happen. But it looks like someone decided to flank and get the clam in, and Hyperflow was able to take the lead. Can they get in this? Can they get this last clam in as well?
Nice flank by Moo here with the jump in. They are able to take the lead, but that does give the healthy diet food groups, in addition to their power clams, the pity clam. They have 3 clams. If they can pull off this push here, that is going to be the lead back in their favor, I believe.
Yes, and with bubbles and a 10 shield, it's proving to be quite difficult. The Carbon Roller getting a pick on Murafan.
10 seconds remaining. They are booming in. One more clam. That is going to be lead.
It's lead.
And the knockout. Ooh, they fought until the end.
Yeah, that's why it's important to never give up. Talking to you, Delicate people.
Agreed. Like, that was... Wow.
Yep, and Apple was pretty popping off right there.
Oh, absolutely.
Top frag at 16.
The flank there was... They were not expecting the flank at all. That came at a very good time, and if they... With only the 45 seconds, they probably could have held on for a bit longer, but Healthy Fight Diet Food Groups just coming in with the push, the triple clam combo with the knockout. GG's to both teams.
Yep, and now we are moving to potentially the last match. Hopefully we could see potentially a reverse sweep, or just straight up move on to the next round. We are on Splat Zones The Reef.
I have to say this is a personal favorite of mine for both the map and the mode. And just the way these teams are going, I would not be surprised to see a reverse sweep, or just, even at the very least, Hyper Friends just taking a couple of matches off of food groups here.
Yep, I would love to see this go all the way to like 3-2, either team winning. Because we
Oh,
know what more
absolutely.
content we have. And potential results.
This is this is going to be a dual zone map. They could see the return of a tent umbrella. However, it is. I honestly don't know. I'm not familiar enough with tent umbrellas to know whether it would be a good pick for this map.
I think if you're determined enough, you can play Tent Umbrella on this map.
True.
You basically have something to plow onto bridge and push with, if you think about it.
Yes, if
Bridge is important on this map as well.
I think it definitely comes down. It probably just comes down to the confidence of the player, how comfortable they feel with it. I guess it can definitely do some serious damage if it's played right.
But not only that, it also comes with the team coordination, because Tent Umbrella is a weapon that you have to coordinate a lot with.
Indeed. We have seen the bamboo has been pretty consistent here. I think that can be a very strong weapon. As we've mentioned before, the bridge is a very key point to hold, pretty much in any mode for that matter. So having some sort of like midline presence is going to be pretty crucial here. We may see the return of a Squiffer. It was a pretty good counter, I would say. Not quite a full backline, but has enough range to just combat some of the other frontline, midline weapons. I think another possible candidate is the Carbon Roller. They did a lot of work in that last match. You might see the return of that Chicken Rush, and the Burst Bomb would be pretty helpful. Yes. We do see the bamboo is getting swapped out for a charger, a full-on scope.
Yeah, a full-on charger. I think I would have rather the bamboo, because I feel like shorter range, longer ranged weapons function better on this map. But I would understand the pick, as sometimes Suction Bomb Rush is the more desirable special.
On top of that,
and Tent Umbrella got that Tent Umbrella got 2v1. No shield to protect.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 down for the Cyber Hyperflow, and healthy diet food groups in control of the zone, already ticking down as Hyperflow and friends return from spawn. Missiles are coming out. They do take down the Tent Umbrella. Yeah, that's going to be there. Oh no, 2 members of healthy food groups are down. That's going to be the chance that Hyperflow needs.
Yeah, that definitely is the chance that they need to start regaining control of the zone. They're able to apply the penalty of 29 on healthy diet food groups, and now they're starting to push into, lock out healthy diet food groups for now. It looks like Bad Apple is still alive and in the field, just to wedge through and get a pick off on the...
Wow. Yeah,
Okay, that pick on the Tent Umbrella was good, but that pick on the 52 gal, ouch.
Yikes.
You saw that wall, right?
I could feel it from here. And he's still going at it. He is neck deep in their spawn and just wrecking havoc. But they are able to finally take him down. 3 members actually now going to be down for the side of food groups. And so Hyperflow is going to be able to take some more map control back.
Yeah, and still, the difference between their leads, between their points now are very different. Hyperflow is already almost done with their penalty, and a pick on Lit Banana is definitely what they need right now. Just a sneak past the lead, a Booyah Bomb being thrown just to put some added pressure. Yeah, Hyperflow is really doing a good job right now, capitalizing on their advantages and staying alive as a team to keep the pressure going.
Dodging all the missiles, just 2 members once again down for diet food groups. As you said, they are doing Hyperflow is doing an excellent job of maintaining their ground. Just a lot of defensive presence here, keeping map control and getting the picks they need to keep them from getting a foothold or even a good coordinated push going in. That being said, 7 points remaining, and there's going to be some contention for the zone here.
Yeah, keeping it as neutral as possible is probably going to be the play to go, because not only is it going to stall for time, but they're also not going to lose. They're also not going to get penalized. And Yumura right there with the tent, pushing up, getting two crucial picks, and that is the knockout for Hyperflow and friends. 2-1.
If the Carbon Roller was the MVP for healthy food groups, I would say the Tent Umbrella is the MVP for Hyperflow. The plays they were doing, defending their teammates, and getting the picks on top of that, my hat is off to you, my friend. That's going to be match 3 going to Hyperflow and friends. We are not done with this set just yet. Moving on to match 4, Tower Control on Anchovy Games.
Ayo, you know what? Power control on Anchovy. You know what this makes me think of? That.
What is that?
This. I think the redundancy of like the question you should automatically know what I'm thinking about.
I think I have an inkling, but would you like to enlighten our audience?
Stingray.
I find it hilarious that no matter how many times we mention how good Stingray is, we just have not seen that much of it today. What is it, one time so far?
I think we've only seen it. I think we might have only seen it once. How come you're not playing Stingray?
There's just so much opportunity
It is
here.
such like a special, like, you could be playing it on Blackbelly Rainmaker.
The pinnacle of Stingray usage. I mean, props to these teams. They are finding a lot of other alternate weapons and making good use of them. So, like, this is definitely nothing to sneeze at. It's just they're just out to prove us wrong, aren't they?
Yep, they just built different and they play different. But you know what? Being different ain't such a bad thing. Because you know what? The meta's stale. We do need something new.
For sure. Now we have seen. If we don't see any Stingray, I think we can expect to see the return of that Firefin Splat Charger. They were doing a pretty darn good job of it last match, and I'd say the Bomb Rush and Charger combo for Tower Control is even stronger, as we saw in that one match of the Hydra duel, I believe. I forget what the team's names were. Oh yes,
Nanotrasen
Infinity Rain and
Infinity
Nano.
Rain.
Yes. Well,
No Stingray.
No Stingray,
Firefin.
no Splat Charger. But we do see the return of the Bamboo and the Tent Umbrella.
Yep, both a Tenebrella coming back and it's a bit more usual stuff coming out from Hyperflow. But hey,
Yeah.
we come this far for some usual out of the unusual.
It's certainly been working for them. We have the pretty standard comp on the side of Hyperflow and friends, and a most unusual comp for the side of healthy diet food groups. And let me tell you, I am not complaining.
Oh, look at that! That Tenebrella just straight up just decided to hold forward and get a pick on that Squiffer, which is honestly, very good pick right there. Because removing the Charger is it's a good idea considering the Squiffer might not be like as long ranged as other Chargers, but its presence is still very annoying to deal with as its kill time is extremely quick for what it is.
It is definitely very deadly and a force to be reckoned with. I would agree. Taking out the Squiffer there was a good first pick to make. It's just the Tent Umbrella of all things is I am impressed.
I think that Tenebrella really does need to play a lot more aggressively on this map in particular because I don't think Tenebrella is really that great on tower control personally. I think some tent mains can agree, but it still can work if you're determined enough. You know, it's like I said regarding the reef thing. It can work if you're determined enough.
It certainly makes it more difficult because of the nature of the shielding. It tends to get ejected sooner than most other umbrellas, so you can't really use it as a standstill shield. It is more of a push forward special. So it definitely lends itself to more Rainmaker and Clan Blitz. So I could definitely see why it is not the more popular pick for tower control. That being said, Hyperflow making a comeback here, already through their first checkpoint and getting onto the enemy plat and taking that lead.
Yeah, and that Inkjet doing a good job at putting some pressure on the higher up areas on that plat street. I honestly don't even remember the callouts on this stage.
I tend to refer to it as plat, I believe. Well, speaking of plat, we see that Carbon Roller making quick work of the enemy team and already pushing on to the enemy plat, getting ready to set up for another push of their own. Both teams are through their first checkpoint, so they are pretty even ground here. It will not take too long for them to get that lead. That being said, we have a little bit of a flank coming out from the Yumura here?
Yumura, yes.
but they are quickly taken out by the Tenta and Bamboo combo. Ooh!
Oof.
Yikes! I can feel that from here.
Yeah, I think that might have just been a little bit of streamer lag. But you know what? That kill would have still gone through anyways. And right now, Healthy Diet Food Groups is putting some points on the board. They're getting control of lead, and now we're just witnessing all the chaos and mist between both teams. 3 down on Healthy Diet Food Groups. Hyperflow and friends are able to successfully defend, and now is a good time for them to regain control of mid, kill that bamboo if applicable, and try to retake lead.
Being the pseudo backline for their team, the Bamboo just here trying to zone out their opponents and stall time for their team to return. Doing a pretty excellent job of it, I must say. 2 members of Hyperflow are down, and this Tentabrella is pretty much taking on the role of the Carbon Roller, pushing up onto the plat, is being really aggressive with the bubbles. However, they do go down to the Inkjet.
Yeah, that combination of a bomb and an Inkjet definitely was enough to put enough pressure on that Tenebrella. Yumura taking control of the tower. Now, I believe Hyperflow and friends are going to start making a push. They kind of got to repeat what they did last time, where they got like a very good foothold on Healthy Diet Food Groups for a while. Except they actually have to do an objective. The pick off at 10, the Bamboos are aggressively watching tower. Oh, they got the lead too. And they're getting points off on the second checkpoint, which is great. They're up 3 players now. Oh, the Tenebrella trying to make a hero play on that tower, but the tower just deciding it's gonna just kind of collapse on them.
Yeah, with that splat wall there, pretty much doing what it is on the tin, defending its host player, allowing them to get past that checkpoint and take a pretty sizable lead as we get down to the last 5 seconds. They're going to have to pull off a pretty flawless push here as we go into overtime. That is going to be rather difficult as we see a lot of purple paint on this map, a lot of ground to cover, and Hyperflow is already setting up in their defensive positions.
I'm actually more worried about the crucial pick on the 52 gal. That 52 gal must go down somehow. Because a GG Booyah Bomb is all it takes.
GG Booyah Bomb, and we are on to our round 5. We are getting everything we wanted and more.
Yes, we are getting everything we wanted and more. Thank you, Hyperflow.
The amount of times that tower flopped back and forth just spikes points. Yeah, these are some very evenly matched teams, and it is leading us up to this last and final match of round 1. This will determine who will go on to the semifinals. We are on match point, Rainmaker Muscle Forge.
Yep, and who knows, Hyperflow could have had Rainmaker her Starfish main stage on Healthy Diet Food Groups, as they had that 1 point off from the knockout.
This is certainly the most stressful of modes to have a match point on. It could literally draw it out into overtime, or it could be over in the blink of an eye, depending on how it falls out. The key here is to not get exploded by the first pop.
Yes, and I think we could obviously see a funny weapon that I hate so much called Sploosh 7.
Oh man, I think that is a very likelihood, but maybe not so with these teams considering what we've seen them play so far.
That is true. I mean, no one likes a rat. No one likes the rat. No one likes playing the rat. Actually, I'm sure there are people who like playing the rat, but I don't like Sploosh. Eesh. We can blame solo queue for that.
Well, for all we know, we might have a secret pocket player amongst us. We'll just have to see. I think there's a good chance of that Tentabrella coming back, though. It is certainly a strong weapon for Rainmaker. I am curious, though. Bubbles would certainly be a good pick. However, we have seen them pull out the... What was it? The Sorella Tentabrella with the Curler Rush and Splat Wall for Rainmaker before, so we might see a return of that as well.
They basically pulled out every single Tenebrella kit on this whole set. You know,
That is true. We have
I
yet
saw
to see the
pulled
camo.
out by Yumura. I've seen the vanilla variant pulled for the bubbles. We've seen Sorella at the beginning, like you said. Ah, which one's gonna be brought out? The Sorella variant.
Yes, we see the return of the Sorella, and we also have a camo on the opposite side. We are going full circle. We also have the addition of a vanilla jet squelcher.
Yes, where's the Stingray Zori?
Once again,
Well,
just
to
out
be honest,
to
I
prove
guess
us
missiles are
wrong.
okay.
2 members
But-
of Hyperflow are going down.
Yeah, being 2 down at this point in time isn't exactly the greatest thing ever. But who knows? Maybe Yumura is gonna be able to get like some. Ooh, look at that! Stamp being popped out. Have to try and mow down some fun. Dropping on the Rainmaker, but I'm not sure how that hammer missed. But that was a good attempt to rate. Just try to stall for time.
It was a good attempt indeed. It was unfortunately they landed on the Rainmaker blast and not the Rainmaker itself. Speedy here just doing an excellent job of carrying that Rainmaker, not allowing, first of all, not dying, but also taking out any who tried to stop them. They are moving up. 17 seconds left, but they are already on to the. That is KO. We are game, set, match.
Yeah, that was a Rainmaker moment. That was very quick.
Not allowing me to finish my thoughts. Healthy diet food groups taking the first round of Top Cut. Wow, that was definitely the over in a blink of an eye kind of match.
Yes, and well, it's like I said, Hyperflow could have won that if they had not gotten knocked out on Starfish main stage. Given they just got the 2-0, they got like they basically made the scores even at some point. But what an intense match, all coming down to just cheesy Rainmaker.
Despite the lack of Stingray, that was definitely a very Rainmaker thing to do right there.
Yep.
That is going to be the end of our commentary. Mike, where can the good people find you?
Oh, you can find me on pretty much almost any social media at @ElfDelphoxation. What about you, IMAD?
You can find me on pretty much everywhere at IMADGamerII on both Twitch and Twitter. That is going to be it for us. We will be passing off the mic for the rest of Top Cut. Thank you all for watching, and thank you all for hanging out. It's been a blast.
Yep. We shall see you some other time. Anyways, for passing the mic.
everyone, and welcome back to SOS 58. My
68.
name is Skip. Oh my gosh, SOS 68! And my name is Skepidillions, and I am here with the lovely and talented Siren. Siren, are you ready to share the mic? This is our first time commentating together.
Yeah, I'm actually really ready for this. I signed up after you did because I was like, you know what? I know they're going to put me with Skep, so I want to try this out for the first time. Also, that's the first time in a long time somebody has complimented me by calling me intelligent. So, slay.
Intelligent and lovely and charming and funny. Yeah, I'm so excited to share the mic with you. I'll just gas you for a moment before we start watching this fantastic match between Any Askers and Rising Wave. But you're a huge part of the reason that I got into commentary, so I'm super excited to share the mic with you, Siren.
Yes, I know. I know because you told me at a Low Tide City, and I was very flattered. Yes, I was like telling all my friends. I was like, "Oh my gosh, Skep told me that." I inspired her to start working in commentary more. So this moment was a long time coming, I think.
Oh, absolutely. It sure heckin' was. We will be starting off on Clamblitz Mako Mart. Once again, this is Any Askers versus Rising Wave. Any Askers did get second place in last week's SOS.
Awesome, and I mean, almost every time I'm either playing an SOS or commentating, I always see Rising Wave. Very consistently good team, and really, honestly, only getting better every time I see them. I mean, of course, now we're in the Great White Bracket, so I mean, definitely when I started playing SOS, this wasn't as common for them, and now seeing them more consistently place around here is very good, so looking to see the improvements since I've last watched Rising Wave.
100%. There's something to be said about teams that consistently play in SOS, because it is that low, high level, like high mid-level moment, you know, where you just consistently get practice against amazing teams. And sure, you might get bodied in pools, but that is how you improve, gamers, is getting bodied in pools. And so, for that reason, you know, Rising Wave, putting in the work, putting in the hours, they're here to devour.
Did you think that up before this, or did you just get that on the spot?
No, it's a meme. It's a meme. Sorry.
We're learning so much about memes in this live room tonight, I swear.
Yeah, you know, just gotta stay up to date with that meme culture. I am so out of touch, I am sure I am being pegged for that right now.
Alright, so getting into this one, we're seeing some pretty typical picks that I would imagine to see on this map. Of course, Bamboo is a total pain in the butt. That's coming from Nikaido on the side of Rising Wave, as well as the Squeezer, the foil Squeezer out of Morsa. Those bubbles are going to be huge in getting these pushes down that center aisle.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see what the Tetras are going to do. The Tetras are picked on right stack, though, by Nikaido on that Bamboozler. Just using the dodge rolls in order to drop ledges really quickly, given that there are so many boxes and differing map geometry on Mako Mark. I can bet that those dualies are going to be extremely proficient here.
Oh yeah, for sure. When you have all those little tiny aisles and areas to flank from, dualies can just sort of roll around and do whatever they want. And that sort of is going to force Rising Wave to compromise their positions and their plays a little bit here. And I'm hoping that maybe it just leads into a delay. But with that being said, they are able to get a push very early in the game. Morsa does go down, but this doesn't look like it's going to be the end of Rising Wave's pressure here in mid.
Yeah, Any Asker's doing a great job of defending here, getting the pick on the Squeezer, and then shortly after the Bamboo. The Tetras are going to be taken out though, but they are doing their job, providing stimuli, working their way up. Any Asker's holding on to that power clam as we see Morsa dancing between those blocks. Oh, excuse me, those blocks in order to be able to push up. About to have bubbles, most likely gonna pop those and then tunnel their way in. Here we go, getting a very nice bubble combo pick on those Tetras.
Yeah, and you know, we're able to get these bubbles out, but we're not actually seeing a lot of picks from this, and it's actually just going to be Morsa left, forcing Morsa to move back towards their basket. But with that coming out, the 52 gal is going to go for a flank. That is going to be the first push coming out of Any Askers, and they are going to be able to get a lead, even though it's a small one here. That is still going to be a lot of pressure for Rising Wave to deal with in this early game.
Yeah, it's extremely beatable though. Just dunking one power clam and then one small clam will be enough for Rising Wave to swap the lead back into their favor. They do have their specials ready, they have that armor, they have those missiles, so they are going to be able to have the pressure to work their way up. And with 25 clams, we see Cam pushing up to that 52, doesn't die to the Booyah Bomb, which is quite impressive, but that is a wipe on the side of Rising Wave, and that is going to give any Askers complete control of mid here.
Yeah, King having these 10 power clams over to the basket, that is going to be able to extend their lead quite a bit. The bamboo coming out from Nikaido is going to actually clear out that push a bit. Spotting the flank coming out from that 52 gal, getting the pick onto them, but this is still going to be huge pressure. The trade from Baja Blast on this left side here, it's still honestly looking like a very neutral game so far. This isn't very much for Rising Wave to come back from, and you would really think that, you know, with a wipe having just been done to Rising Wave, a lot more damage would have been done, but not so much.
Honestly, those were my thoughts as well. It was a lot of beanbag damage, but not a lot of pressure. Here we go with Rising Wave, though. They are going to be able to pull a lead here, and there it is, but they are 2 down. You don't want to go more than 2 down on Mako Mart just because of how quickly the advantage can shift in the opponent's favor. They are milking that basket, though, but with no clams left. Ooh, I take it back. They have 8, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get to the basket in time.
Yeah, Nikaido here taking this great position in mid, being able to sort of watch all the people approaching. However, going down, unfortunately, and that's going to leave King here trying to dunk that extra power clam and just leaving one member left on either side. So this is going to be a 1v1 and the deciding factor is going to be the points there. King making the smart move to jump out and return to the side. They have a very close lead here. They only need to dunk another power clam, and that's just going to be it for them. So with 1 minute left, it's really up to them on whether or not they're going to be able to get this lead.
Yeah, they need to watch out for Rising Wave, though. They are barreling towards their specials, getting very, very close to that, and now juggling those power clams to keep them alive. The Tetras are down. That's a significant amount of their offensive pressure just gone. Any Asker is getting the power clam in. It is now Rising Wave's turn to try and swap this lead with 45 seconds left in the match.
Absolutely here. We are seeing King here trying to make some defense onto the basket. This isn't going to be enough on its own to do it, I think, with these bubbles coming out from Morsa. That's going to be 3 down on the side of Rising Wave, but they're able to get the dunk into the basket if they get one more power. No, they are able to get the clam in. That's going to be a delayed wipe, so it's all up to the squeezer from Morsa here to make it to the basket in time, but I don't think so. When we have that little tiny wedge left, that's going to be it for the game. Actually, we still have 20 seconds left. I am losing my marbles.
You know, honestly, that push could have been extremely nasty. I saw those power clams, I saw the bubbles, and I was like, oh my god, they're gonna do it. But here they are, Rising Wave, once again on their back foot, having to figure out a way to break in. They do have overtime, but they're 2 down. The armor coming out a little bit early, they're 2 down. As any Askers goes in for the dunk, they get it in, and that's it. Any Askers keeping their lead, holding on, taking game 1 on Clan Blitz Mako.
That was kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. So one thing I did want to draw a lot of attention to here was just the stingrays that were coming out from King that game. Like, the insane pressure that was coming out of it, and just, I think maybe Rising Wave would have had a lot more dominant positions overall if they weren't forced to sort of scramble around every single time that stingray came out, which was 7 times over the span of that match. And with such a small map, it's very dominating pressure. You saw, I think, almost every full wipe came almost as a direct result of one of those stingrays.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how that's going to influence the following game on Zone's Inkblot. Given that the map structure is very similar and still very favorable to Stingray. Like Mako, you have that central valley area in mid. However, you also still have those left and right trees, which is similar to the left and right streets on Mako Mart. So given that any Askers did win on clams, I'm curious to see how the comps are going to be changing, or if at all, given how similar the structure is to Mako. Also, there were several wipes on the side of Rising Wave that were just not followed up. And that is a concern of mine, especially in zones. But objective is a little bit different because it's passive. So the wipes you are definitely going to have an impact on the game regardless of objective follow-up, which makes it different from clams. But I'm curious to see how the mode change, given the similar map geometry, is going to impact the match.
I definitely think if we did see a Stingray here, which we do, I think the verticality of the center point of this map is going to help Rising Wave in avoiding that and dealing with it a lot better. But we'll just have to see how either team sort of tackles this mid tower in the center zone.
And King is a fantastic C-Jet player, so looking forward to seeing them pop off. That is a early Ray in the first 20 seconds of the game. Any Askers being the first team to cap zone, but they are not going to be able to hold it as Rising Wave does get that cap. It is very early. The first cap almost means nothing except for the initial points. But 2 down on the side of any Askers is going to give Rising Wave to paint up those flanks, take stronger positions, and get those specials.
Absolutely. Here we see Cam sort of painting up the right side of the map, trying to build up an armor ready for their team. We're not seeing it come out quite yet, and that's not going to be good because that Stingray is already coming back out from King. So popping that as soon as possible is going to help deal with it. But unfortunately, looking like going down in the process, and that's going to be a zone flip in favor of Baha. Any Askers. So now Chamber is going to be moving up here, repainting the zone, trying to get these penalty points back on to any Askers. However, it's not going to be very much, and honestly, I'm not seeing a huge impact on the overall objective of this game so far.
No, great picks there from Chamber, though. Those missiles coming out online. The CDS and the K-Shot are the only ones up. They are almost clear with the penalty point. And look at teamwork. You can very clearly see Chamber responding to those callouts. They are almost clear of those penalty points, and with 2 down, any Askers is not going to be able to significantly impact objective here. Getting the pick on that K-Shot is huge, given how much damage they were doing. The Booyah Bomb coming out, the Stingray currently out. Any Askers is forcing their way in.
Absolutely. I mean, we're seeing Ace here trying to pick up on this one side of the map, and really at this point in the game, they're just trying to get some more coverage so that they can deal with players like Morsa, who are just getting in their faces, getting 3 picks there. This is all Morsa that you're seeing. That's going to be a delayed full wipe onto the side of any Askers, and now Morsa is going to be getting even closer into their faces. However, getting punished by Ace in a trade.
Yeah, but they are in their house. Rising Wave is on that plat, and they are almost through with their penalty. They don't have their specials, though, and they're not going to have it for some time. Any Askers is inching closer and closer to theirs. We do see any Askers popping those rays, popping that armor, working their way in. The penalty is clear, though. Rising Wave feeling a little bit more comfortable with every single passing second, and any Askers feeling the pressure. They're 2 down. It's just the K-Gal and that Zap. They are not going to be able to break in, especially with that Zap going down. Rising Wave is very likely going to take game 2, so we are 1-1.
I mean, we're just seeing the amazing ability of Rising Wave to adapt to the comp that they're seeing coming out of any Askers here. When you're dealing with any sort of pickup, that's bound to happen, where you don't really know what you're gonna see out of these players. I mean, of course, you and me, Skep, we've seen players like Ace, we've seen players like King, so we kind of have a general idea of what they're going to play, but when you get into pickups like this, that whole scenario and that dynamic can change entirely based on what, that pickup wants to be doing that night. So, of course, Rising Wave, just being a very long-term team, is going to be advantageous in the aspect that they have the ability to adapt a lot easier.
Yeah, you're so right, and they're more likely to be responsive to each other and know how their teammates are going to take specific situations. So that does give Rising Wave the synergy advantage. But I will say, players like King, Lipru, Ace, Cannon, and Baha are all well-known players, right? You know King's going to be walking up with a C-Jet. You know Nikaido on the side of Rising Wave is great with inkjets. So these players, I'm sure they have played together before. I'm sure they have heard of each other and know a little bit about what to expect here. And you know that those mind games between 2 teams trying to figure out what they are going to do is always really fascinating to me, and how they choose to counterplay around that.
And speaking of counterplay, we're actually not really seeing much of a shift in either team's comp. So it's ultimately going to be in how they play things out and how they're noticing the other team's behaviors. Morsa, very smart to be jumping out from that Stingray there. That's going to allow him to live a little longer and come back into mid with a lot more strength and more coordination from the teammates here. Of course, as a downside to that, that is going to allow the members of any Askers to get all this paint coverage that you're seeing here. However, I think the payoff is going to be ultimately in the favor of Rising Wave at the end of this.
Yeah, as you say that though, any Askers is currently pushing, right? Rising Wave had burned through all of their special economy in that initial engagement. We do see any Askers at that first checkpoint, but Ace taking that top right area, they're going to pop that Booyah Bomb. Excellent placement on window there, but going to be taken out. However, clearing that first checkpoint in the first minute of the game is huge for any Askers, especially given how tower pushes can snowball on this map.
Speaking of snowball here, we're seeing 3 members of Rising Wave going down. That's just going to leave the 2 members, King and Ace, by the tower here, and they're still getting more points onto the board. A 34 push is nothing to scoff at on this map, and with Ace applying all this pressure here, it's going to be a lot more points coming up for any Askers.
Yeah, and they almost cleared that second checkpoint. It is just the C-Jet. That C-Jet most likely here painting for special. You can see how quickly that is going up. The K-Shot has missiles. They are smoking out the opposing team, and you can see how they were split up. They are split up very strongly for the defense here. Split up 2-2 to try and shut down any single push that Rising Wave is going to have. They have their armor. They are working on the other specials as well, but getting to this first checkpoint with only that armor is going to be quite precarious, especially with that Booyah Bomb coming out from the K-Gal.
Yeah, I do want to draw attention to the way that Chamber was positioning up onto the enemy spinner there for a minute. You could see that he had eyes on multiple members of any Askers and kind of was drawing into where they were coming from. And definitely you could tell that there was some callouts going on as to where members of any Askers were going to be pooling in from. And as a result now, they do have 3 members down. That's going to leave Nikaido and Morsa pushing up on this right side here, and multiple members of Rising Wave are coming back in. So that's going to be a great assist to Morsa in getting this aggression on the side of any Askers.
King is doing a fantastic job of simply just staying alive. Every single time Rising Wave goes 3 down, it is King the last one standing. And that's very critical, right? Because they are the Ray, they are the C-Jet. We do see once again that C-Jet going to be popping Ray for the 4th time this game. The armor is online. It does look like any Askers is going to be able to defend that first checkpoint, but no! 2 down on the side of any Askers, and they are on window. They're not going to be able to significantly impact the tower from right there, being flushed out by Morsa. Look at team play, Siren.
This is huge, and we did see a bit of a Ray battle there earlier. Nikaido was actually swapped into a Ray weapon, so that's going to allow them to deal with King on a basically one-on-one basis, and that's going to allow them to get the knockout there. Once you dislodge King from their position and get that Ray out of the way, that is huge for Rising Wave and getting up into their faces and getting that last push resulting in that knockout.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that the moment King went down, that snowballed. Because they are the weapon with the most range in that situation, they are going to be able to impact tower the most significantly. I mean, that's what a C-Jet does. And that final snowball from Rising Wave was just, it was a wave of pressure, and realistically, there was nothing any Askers could do because they were constantly 1 or 2 down, and they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, no, that definitely was the situation that was going on there. And I mean, obviously, I think that first half of the game was just a large fight on who can dislodge the C-Jet, as you could see. And ultimately, once you win that, basically like an arm wrestle there, then that's going to allow you to sort of pool in and get that many points. And you know, when it happens that late into the game, you're basically doomed. So you know, obviously Rising Wave has addressed what they need to do to win here, and I think honestly Rainmaker on Black Belly Skate Park, I see this literally every single SOS. You know what's gonna happen here. I know what's gonna happen here. We're gonna see a Ray. Whoever gets the Ray out of the way is gonna get points, and that's usually the gist of this game. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I have a couple of opinions there, Siren. I do think we will be seeing a Ray simply because King. Yeah. But almost always on the C-Jet. I think I've seen them play V-Jet like once or twice. However, that being said, as someone who watches and commentates a lot of SOSs. I have been seeing teams ditch Ray in favor of double missiles. Or simply high missile output. Just because it still impacts objective, obviously, they're missiles. However, it also deals with the Ray, right?
Right.
And if you always have missiles for when you think the C-Jet is going to be popping Ray, you could shut that down. And we do see that Rising Wave has brought out that K-Shot once again, but no missiles on the side of any Askers.
Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately coming down a bit to prediction here, and of course, you know, tandem missiles are often used to counter a lot of different specials here, and Ray just happens to be very prime suspect for that. So very early in this game here, we're seeing one member of any Askers going down, which is going to result, of course, in a push from Rising Wave. We're seeing Ace getting the pick onto Cam, and that's going to stop the Rainmaker in its tracks there. Just one member of Rising Wave stuck by this Rainmaker here, but going to get trapped in that corner here. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath in mid with the Stingray coming out.
I want to just appreciate that K-Gauch movement. I believe that was Ace. But just using the map geometry, knowing where their opponents was going to be, you could tell that they were tempted to go for the Ray, but they were like, nah, like, I'm not going to do that. And then shifted left in order to take out the member of Rising Wave that was still handling objectives, still trying to go for that pop. Any Askers, one member down, the NZAP being down, but we do see that King has that Ray. Once again, the Ace has the Booyah Bomb almost ready to go. The Ray comes out. Looks like any Askers getting a pick on Nikaido might be positioning for a push here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're seeing King here kind of building up another Stingray in mid. There are two members of any Askers down, so he's got to play this very carefully. Otherwise, he's going to get absolutely punished for playing this aggressively, getting the pick on a chamber, but maybe getting a little too egotistical in the moment there and moving up. That's going to allow Rising Wave to start getting some more pressure onto the board here. We're only at 83, which is basically nothing here. So now we're going to be seeing some real points.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. Any Askers just did not go in for that push, and when they went 2 down, it was pretty much over. We do see that Rising Wave is working their way up. Ace getting a pick on Morsa. It is just King left standing, going to be pushing the opposing Jet. Not getting the pick, but doing a lot of damage. King taking out Nikaido. That Rainmaker is prime for the taking. 49 is extremely beatable, as everyone knows. I want to see any Askers get in there.
Yeah, I mean, at this point of the game, I feel like it's just gonna, you know, come down to prophecy here, and just, you know, what team is gonna be able to get those positions and get that C-Jet out of the way. I hate saying it, but like that's ultimately what it can and will come down to, in my opinion. Now we're seeing that C-Jet, who has just grinded for that Ray, coming out, and it's gonna go right after Lit Blue and King. It's gonna be a great defense for them, and two members of any Askers are actually going to go down because of it as a result. So this is another chance for Rising Wave once again to add more points onto their lead here, because we all know, like you said before, 49 is not a winning push.
Yeah, and it's not just about extending their lead right now, right? It is just simply keeping any Askers on their toes. If any Askers is having to pop their specials and put themselves in risky situations in order to defend objective, they're not going to be able to push if they're constantly burning through that economy. And that is kind of what Rising Wave has been doing. They just have been keeping up the pressure, keeping up the damage, and just not giving any Askers any time to get themselves set up.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of that coming out through here. They did get the pick on Amorsa, and so they're going to use that to capitalize on it on as much as possible. The Ray is going to come out, and with Lit Blue being already weak from those missiles, that's going to be huge. But that Booyah Bomb is going to come out and take out the C-Jet. It's going to be King here forced to use that Stingray to sort of assist in popping that Rainmaker, and is going to be the one to grab it, as members of any Askers are sort of returning behind King to get this push in. They've decided to reroute to the right side of mid, and they're having jumps come back, so that is going to allow them to get some more space, since now Rising Wave, I don't think, was properly equipped to sort of deal with the right side. They were kind of getting ready for any Askers to push the left. But with all that time and delay going down, that's going to allow Nikaido to get another Ray, and getting multiple picks out of it, it's going to be another 3-down situation. This is not looking like a good game for any Askers.
I am phenomenally stunned that the C-Jets are both top fragging in this situation. Both of them. We have 14 and 12 KA respectively on each side, and bet you $10 that the vast majority of those splats came from Rays. We do see any askers getting a hands-on objective. They have that Ray ready to go. They're not going to have armor for this push, but it is Rainmaker. Lip Blue positioning up on their street. There are 11 seconds left in the game. Missiles have come out. They are holding forward. They pulled lead!
I had to jinx it. That was the commentator's curse. I said that this was not looking like a good game for any askers here. However, we are seeing an overtime, so we do need to be attentive to what is going on right now with with Nikaido not being up right now. That is going to be a jump in, and they just have to play this extremely carefully and almost borderline slowly, but not too much. They are able to get the pick onto King, so they don't have to worry about that Stingray in this overtime, but it's just going to be Chamber left. He's got to watch out and watch his feet right now, as any members of any askers can come up and get him, and he's getting the pick onto Baja Blast, avoiding that Booyah Bomb. This is huge if they're able to hold this up.
But they only have 27 seconds. That is not a lot of time. I did see a splash of ink coming from the right. They are very likely going to be flanked here. King had enough time to charge a Ray, but look at Chamber ducking and weaving, living through that, but they're not going to be able to push forward. With 13 seconds left above their head, King getting the pick with that Ray. Any askers, we are in a 2-2 situation in semifinals, moving on to a game 5.
I'll be honest there, this looked like it was going to be a very clean 3-1 for Rising Wave in that moment there. We're seeing the insane frags coming out of both C-Jets, as you kind of mentioned earlier on in the game as well. I mean, ultimately, this is what they get for not playing multiple missile weapons, and you just sort of have to deal and swerve around the C-Jet Rays, and it really just was a game of Stingrays, I think.
Yeah, I think that's proven by the KAs of the C-Jets on both sides. Pretty much it was wait for your jet to get Ray, hold forward pressure, and then pop the Ray and get picked. Whether or not you were pushing or defending, and absolutely oppressive on both sides, honestly.
Yeah, no, that was definitely huge, and just in that moment, their ability to sort of speed through and decide, okay, we're gonna try it, and we're risking it all to try and get this lead here paid off.
Yeah, and here we are in a game 5, right? Any asker is clutching up in the final 10 seconds of the match in order to pull lead here, and that's gotta sting for Rising Wave, right? You felt like it was gonna be clean. You were holding a decent lead for the majority of the game, right? You took Zone's Inkplot in a dominant faction. You let that tower control Sturgeon game just snowball out of control. And there you were, holding lead. And literally with 6 seconds on the clock, any askers comes and pulls the rug out from underneath their feet. So they're going to want to prevent that moving forward the Clamblitz humpback.
Yeah, I mean, Game 5 Clamblitz is probably one of my favorite things to see in any game of Splatoon, just because of how objective-based Clamblitz is, and how, attentive you have to be to everything going on in the map. So this should be an interesting display of how these teams have worked together so far in the tournament.
And especially given that any askers did win the first match, which was on Clamblitz Mako. So Rising Wave is going to know that, as both teams vie for mid here. No one going down quite yet, but a lot of force being shown on both sides, and a trade between the Zap and the Nautilus.
Yeah, I don't know if you've actually noticed so far that yet, but Rising Wave has actually alternated into a bit more of an aggressive backless comp. So they've taken Nikaido off of backlines and put him onto what I believe is the Nautilus there. So we're seeing, instead of dealing with the Stingray with another Stingray, we're tackling it by dealing with multiple armors here, which I think is a pretty smart approach, but not necessarily one that I was expecting out of Rising Wave.
Yeah. And also, King is no longer on the C-Jet. They are on the V-Jet. King, the last member left standing on that bunker, going to have to fall back as Rising Wave does push in here. They do dunk. They do get points on the board. One of their Zaps is down, but they have that Jet ready to go. That is honestly what I know Nikaido for, is Inkjet on the Nautilus. So given that we haven't seen that at all this set, that is going to be quite a show of force this game.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. We are seeing King grabbing that power clam, setting up to get ready for a push, or at least having it in an emergency situation in case they do have members down, so they don't have to scramble backwards. And we are seeing a bit of a neutral position here with just any askers trying to build up any pressure in mid. Getting the pick on Cam is going to be big because that's defensive pressure out the window there, and this is definitely going to be 2 power clams into the basket here. We're going to be seeing in a few seconds. However, I don't think they're going to be able to extend it much more than that unless we are seeing a flanker coming out from Ace, and that is just going to leave the Tetras, who are going to be pesky, but it does look like Rising Wave has spotted them out and they have jumped out of map. So that is going to be an ultimate reset on basically the entire midsection of the map.
Any askers did get nearly wiped in that exchange, not able to pull lead. 2 down with both of those armors online on the side of Rising Wave. One of those armors is popped. Nikaido pops that jet. There's just that 52 over on that right side. They are going to be forced to jump out. Rising Wave putting up a lot of pressure here in continuously keeping that basket open. They have 5 clams. They are able to go. They are going to be able to keep this bleeding. Ace, though, nearly at that Booyah Bomb, getting 2 picks with the help of a teammate. Any askers, it does look like they are going to be able to force this to a close.
Absolutely. Here we're seeing the pick from Lit Blue coming out, and they are going to be looking to make another power clam here. They do have that pity on deck as well. It's just a matter here of getting these pressure and these picks, getting a trade ultimately in that situation there with Nikaido off the board and that end zap. So it's ultimately at this point how any askers is going to approach it from here on in. They do have a bit less paint that we're seeing here, but you know, and anything can happen at this rate. I feel like both teams are feeling the pressure at this point in the game.
Yeah, they are. Rising Wave, knowing that they have to defend solidly. Any askers can pull lead here. Both NZAPs are down and 23 clams on the line. Those missiles coming out as King pushes up. They dunk both of those clams. They are going to be able to pull lead here, and that is it. That is the lead swap. They are out of clams for the moment, but King falling back, going to take an engagement in mid. 11 points is good, right? But it's not enough to where Rising Wave can't take the lead back. So keeping that basket open is critical. And that's the KO! Any askers taking game 5, and with that, taking the set.
That was crazy there. I don't know if you saw the hesitation in any asker's last push there, but you could kind of see that they wanted to make it a worthwhile one. When they were sort of approaching the basket there, they had around 22, 25 clams, and they were just sort of holding off and waiting until they had those last couple picks, because you could kind of see them wanting to rush the basket there, but stopping when they realized, okay, we can take this a bit slower and get a lot more out of this if we don't just, you know, face rush into this, which ultimately paid off for them in the end. I don't think it was something that Rising Wave was ready for in that moment, and of course, it's a lot harder to deal with a push when you're, you know, 4 down. So with that being said, very great plays coming out from both teams. Any askers is going to be moving on to grand finals.
Yeah, they are going back to back in clams W's. So we'll see. I don't think they'll be getting two clams matches next set. Going to have to put up a fight against Toad on other map modes. So with that, we will be right back.
See you then. Welcome back to SOS number 68. We are coming into grand finals. It is still me, Siren, and you're they, Skep.
Yeah, your lovely weekly Thembo. Yes, yes.
So we are going to be watching Toad and any askers here. We are getting right into it right now. Splat Zones on Wahoo World. I'm so glad I don't have to talk predictively about this because I had nothing to say anyways. So let's see what we have.
We are watching Pickup versus Pickup again. In SOS Grand Finals, so here we go. We have SS Nolan on their signature K-Pro still coming in strong, and once again, a very similar comp to what we were seeing any Askers play during the last set, except with King now on the V-Jet, going to be taking advantage of those missiles on such a massive and expansive map in order to be able to shark out opponents, figure out where they are, communicate, call-outs. Look at all those missiles flying from the side of Toes. That's gotta be a pain for any Askers.
Yeah, and with that being said, they're actually still able to maintain control over the zone here. Not a lot of members of Toad coming around to sort of actually pressure the zone itself, and just sort of coming from a distance with a lot of special pressure, and that's going to be huge for them here. Baja Blast getting the splashdown kill, something you don't usually see at this level of Splatoon, but of course the element of surprise can change anything here. And we're seeing a very dominant lead for any Askers in this early game here, getting it all the way down to 40, and with one member of Toad being down right now, this is not looking so hot.
That is the thing with Splat Zones Wahoo. It is so difficult to break back in when your opponent has control of your plat. We do see the Booyah Bomb coming out, the 10 missiles coming out from Toes. They are going to chuck that right at the zone, and with one player down, that's a significant chunk of paint down. Any Askers contesting that zone, but they are 2 down. Those missiles still online. Here we go. Toad does cap the zone, but they are 2 down. The question is, how do they lock and hold this? And the answer is they don't. A quick swap back to any Askers having control of the zone. And I will add, this is any Askers' second back-to-back SOS Grand Finals.
Okay, so we're almost not getting into pickup territory here. This is going to be like a consistent thing, I think. So King is actually going to be popping these aggressive missiles here, just kind of keeping the members of Toad at bay at this point. They don't have very many points to go to get this knockout here, so ultimately they're not going to play this too risky. They're sort of keeping their distance from Toad and just holding pressure as far as they can without engaging too much, which is actually working out very well in their favor, as Toad is struggling very much to get cap of this zone.
Yeah, those missiles coming out, going to use those to break back in. They do get the cap, which is penalty points on the side of any Askers. But just like before, I do think any Askers is going to come right back in for that retake. The armor comes online, and look how swiftly Ace is pushing up onto that plat. A lot of bomb pressure being chucked at them. That Booyah Bomb coming right on out. But it doesn't look like Toad is going to be able to cap. Any Askers still in a dominant control here in a 3v3 situation.
Yeah, I love how you could see Ace's thought process there when you were watching him sort of look over that top right area, seeing one of the members of Toad sort of coming up and climbing onto that right side there and just saying, hey, I'm going to keep my distance. They don't know I'm here. And getting that pick there is going to be very integral as far as any Askers getting this cap back. And it is. So really, really strong holding pressure for any Askers here. We haven't really seen much of a full wipe or a reset for them so far this game. And that's the reason why they've gotten it all the way down to 12. And just with that tiny, tiny penalty, this is very, very bad for Toad right now. They're going to have to come back soon. But with no specials on deck for them, this is going to be very difficult.
And look at Lip Blue just painting around that zone, using a junior instead of a zap, just sweeping across that zone back and forth. But look where Toad is. Toad has a favorable position for the first time this game. They have control of any Asker's plat. They have cleared those penalty points. They have those double missiles online. But any Askers, they do have that Booyah Bomb. That armor is online as well. When they break in, it is going to be decisive. And here come those specials. But with the Tetras being down, that's a lot of their aggression out the table. And they can't even break onto their own plat right now, given how they're spread out.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at these members of any askers coming back into mid here. They're able to get this cap once again, nearly losing that lead there in that moment and getting 2 members of Toad down. This actually just could be the knockout now. I almost feel like so far Toad has been delaying the inevitable with how they've been playing it so far. So, I mean, they kind of just need to repeat what they just did once again, but they don't have any time to do that. There is a Booyah Bomb waiting to be deployed onto that zone area. Lip Blue is just holding ZR and dancing back and forth here. This is going to be the knockout for any askers.
Fantastic support there from Lip Blue consistently the entire game. The poking with the bombs, the painting for objective, and I will add switching to the junior specifically for the map geometry of Wahoo. I thought that was a fantastic adjustment moving forward in the grand finals, given that you don't know what you're going to be expecting from Toad, but just sheesh. Absolute sheesh. 3KA, but absolutely like someone clap for Lip Blue. Like, I'll clap. Thank you. Good support.
I'm clapping, but I'm gonna pretend that my mic is not picking it up.
Oh, pretending. I see.
I'm gonna be totally candid here and say that I may have lost my train of thought partway through that game because I was staring at Taylor's in-game name and I couldn't tell just because of how the movement was if his name was listed as Taylor or Trailer with like an R, and I don't know why I thought that, and I've just been like staring like, wait, is that Trailer? But no. I'm gonna have to ask him to change it to that after this though.
Trailer. No, I thought it was a fantastic game. It was like Toad was just trying to break back in there again and again. And they were able to apply penalty points. And that one hold that they had was extremely solid. But just any askers doing so much damage throughout the rest of the game, it made it really difficult for them.
Absolutely. So Tower Control on Starfish is a map that I feel very fond feelings towards personally. I don't know why. I just quite enjoy this one. So what we're seeing from both comps is more or less the same thing. I at least looking at Toad, we are once again seeing Lip Blue switching to more of an aggressive support role from that end zap here. We're seeing the armor is already ready here. Specials are getting popped for any askers, and they are moving up into mid.
Yeah, and here we go. Any askers having a lot of paint down in mid, but Lip Blue in a very precarious situation, but does get the pick. It is 3v3, just tapping that tower, you know, a little bit of that passive special charge. We do see a spicy 2v1 happening on that pillow, but 2 members of any askers going down as Toad takes that tower and starts to push forward. They have that Booyah Bomb that's going to be very useful in terms of clearing snipe and enabling them to clear that first check.
Yeah, so we are seeing Taylor running back in here. Getting onto this checkpoint is 2 members of Toad, so that's going to be able to burn through it very quickly. That Ray coming out, but just a little too late to deal with that checkpoint here. That's going to allow members of Toad to sort of just back off and wait that out. So Nolan here is going to allow some pressure to come out onto this left side, forcing 3 members of any askers to sort of fight him in that corner, which is honestly going to be very advantageous for them in the end, as now that has allowed Toad to sort of escape this situation with most of their, you know, squid bodies intact, I would say. So now that Ray is going to be coming out on a more aggressive front. I'm kind of surprised to be seeing it when we're in still the 90s as far as pushing goes. But with that being said, it is going to be a 2v2, so only having really one person to get on tower and another person to pressure is not really ideal, I think, in this mode, and that is going to allow Toad to play this more defensively and get more of a reset, and I guess allow them to sort of get back into the pushing scenario here.
Yeah, any askers on their back foot here against Toad's comp, honestly. Well, the double missiles are very useful for Wahoo zones. They are positively oppressive on tower control in general. We do see King popping that Ray, using that to, you know, sense what's going on up there, but not getting any picks with it. Any askers tries to break back and submit. They do get the pick on Nolan. That's very good, given how much stimuli that they have been creating. But the moment they start pushing, they are going to have to deal with those double missiles from Toad.
Yeah, I mean, we are seeing a lot of specials now coming out from members of Toad. They are going to be trying to get another push coming in pretty soon, but with Taylor being down, they do have to watch out as members can kind of freely move up aggressively from any askers, and that is exactly what we're seeing here right now. They do have specials coming out. They're going to use that to move up onto the side of Toad, and somebody's going to have to get on the tower. I don't know who that's going to be, but I guess that is going to be delayed with the fact that now they have 2 members down and have ultimately lost this fight.
We have 3 down on the side of any askers, giving Toad once again control over objective, and look how quickly they have taken control of that left side. You know Taylor's going to be pushing up onto that top left any moment, especially once they get that tower to the second checkpoint. Those missiles about to be online, the mini having pops theirs as well. That's just so much displacement on the side of any askers that they're just not able to mount a defense here. Popping that Booyah Bomb. Oh no!
Yeah, it's so unfortunate when you don't really think of those signs existing there, but when the map geometry is your worst enemy, that can be a huge pain. And unfortunately, as a result, that is going to allow Toad to be moving up all the way into the 30s here. It's not looking too good with 1 minute left. Any askers is going to have to make some serious moves and get, at the very least, a full wipe. But unfortunately, the full wipe here is going to be onto them and not onto Toad.
Yeah, and this is looking like a lot like a KO here, and it is! Toad taking game 2, a back and forth so far in grand finals, but man, that Booyah Bomb moment allowing Toad to clear that second checkpoint, that's gotta hurt a little bit, honestly. And the question for any askers is, how on earth do you deal with this missile spam? You know, like SOS, like funny special spam O special, you know, that's what SOS stands for. But I mean, it's a serious question for any askers. Do they want to get second place 2 weeks in a row, or do they want that W?
Yeah, and I'm glad you actually brought up the missile spam coming out from Toad there. I think it's something worth noting that, you know, in tower control, it's really the only mode where you have nowhere to essentially hide from when you're dealing with that on the objective. Of course, with any other mode, you can sort of just move a little bit and still at some point be progressing the objective to a degree or work around it. But with tower control, you really only have that little tiny amount of space to wiggle around in. So, you know, missiles sometimes can just be a full stop to a push if you have, you know, aggressive players alongside that. And of course, we're talking about Taylor here. So
Yeah.
that's insane pressure. So hopefully Rainmaker is going to be looking a little different, since that kind of strategy just can't be used in the same way here.
I will say, with Rainmaker Manta in particular, given how narrow street and cut and top right are, I still think those missiles can be quite a pain. However, there's King on the other side, and that siege on Rainmaker Manta is going to be extremely formidable. The question is, what else do you do in order to counter those freaking missiles? Honestly, you know, because that is absolutely a huge part of the reason Toad was just able to keep pushing, and unrelentingly so.
I can't agree with you more. So what we are going to be seeing here coming out of King is actually the custom Hydra. So we are going to be seeing the armors. I'm so surprised right now. I don't think I've seen this out of King, at least not in a long time. And I'm interested, I mean, obviously, King is going to be taking this perch up here onto the sort of bunker or mast area, rather, and just applying pressure from there, which, honestly, that custom Hydra can do very well. But as far as mobility and moving alongside the objective, King is going to be struggling the most, I think.
The pick surprises me, I'm not going to lie. While they have initial control over objective and they are going to be able to drop that in the pit, you're talking about what was double missiles, and your thought to that is Hydra? You know, given how missiles are used to displace that, but I mean, I'm not King. I'm not nearly as cracked as King, so clearly they know something I don't. We do see any askers in control of objective once again. Getting it into pit is huge, right? But they are going to go 2 down, so that push is not going to be able to continue, giving Toad control of objective right here.
Yeah, so now Taylor is going to be moving up into mid here. You're seeing him painting a lot, trying to build up another missile to support the team. And with the Tetra Dualies being down right now, that's actually going to be a huge weight off their shoulders. Not, knowing that there's no way that Tetra is sharking anywhere is huge when you're moving in like this.
Yeah, and here we go. Toad picking up that Rainmaker, getting the pick on King. Taylor pushing up, getting the K-Gow as well, but Baja Blast going to come in from the left and get the splat. Toad not able to pull lead here. They have it just on the cusp of dropping it into pit, but their players aren't in position in order to pop it. We do see Lip Blue sharking near that Maker, quite possibly going to move it. No, just gonna leave it there as they try to deal with Nolan and April on Bunk.
Honestly, a very smart play from them, allowing it to reset without having to sort of deal with it hands-on is not going to force them to get in a position where their locations are revealed or any pressure where, they might get picked off and get punished for it severely. So honestly, very smart for them to watch it there and just allow it to reset back into mid on its own. Ace going to be trying to take this fight onto the right side there, getting picked off by Nolan, but the cleanup is going to come out from Lip Blue. Honestly, great teamwork coming out of any Askers, and we are now just watching Baja Blast taking these fights on a bunker and supporting King.
Yeah, and here they go, going to be able to work their way in there. It is a 3v3 situation, but Toad has so much paint down on the ground. Any Askers needs to be able to paint that back up, otherwise Toad is going to have a clear and free path to push. That Booyah Bomb coming out on bunker, but not going to get any picks with it. Toad has the advantage in terms of the special economy as that raid does come out. We do see Kim just putting up pressure with those bombs, going to pick up the Rainmaker and quite possibly swing it cut. The question is, where are any Askers? Baja Blast dropping in, gonna fall off the map. Kim jumping in, they are pushing, and they might be able to drop this here.
They're definitely going to get the lead here, absolutely.
Yeah.
This could even be the knockout if they're not able to be stopped here. However, thankfully, Baja Blast respawning in time and able to get these picks down into the pit here. It is just going to be the C-Jet on the side of Toad here. Baja Blast opting to picking up the Rainmaker and moving it into mid manually and not resetting it entirely. This is definitely an interesting play in my opinion, but I guess they're trying to capitalize as much as possible on this near full wipe onto the side of Toad. And obviously, they do see that they only have a minute and a half left, so they do need to start making up for some lost time.
And here they are trying to survive that raid, going to be picked by a rolled bomb there from the junior Kim. And I'm a little nervous for any Askers, honestly. They have to be able to work their way back in there, and they only have a minute left to do so. Toad once again working on regaining control of mid, but Nolan is down. This is huge. That's a huge chunk of their aggressive range taken out. Unfortunately, the Tetras are down on the side of any Askers. It does look like the Rainmaker did reset there. Lip Blue going for the pop. They're going to start pushing, and 2 down. This could be huge, Siren.
Oh, absolutely. They do have that raid coming out, but with all this coverage in mid, that's going to basically mean nothing. Lip Blue is going to be moving up here, waiting for that Ace 52 to respawn. However, getting unfortunately picked off by Nolan there, that isn't going to be too much of a big deal, just as long as they have some member of any Askers to pop this Rainmaker. Baja Blast going to be backing off for a second just to get that pressure there, and basically babysitting the Rainmaker at this point while they wait for that junior to come back in. Unfortunately, King is going to be getting picked off here, and we are seeing a fight between Taylor and another aggressive member of any Askers, and that is going to be a loss for Taylor. However, here, this is 16 seconds left. They need to pop this Rainmaker now and start making some footway into the, the pit for Toad. I had drawn a blank entirely there for a second. And now Baja Blast is going to be moving up here, sort of paving the way for the Rainmaker to sort of make some steps into this. But however, with Ace down, this is going to leave the Rainmaker very vulnerable to a member like Taylor, who's going to be taking the fight, getting the pick on a Lip Blue, and that is going to be a cleanup from Toad, taking the game off of any Askers.
That was a scary game. Siren, that was a very scary game. That initial push from any Askers where they were able to just barely drop the Rainmaker into pit. It is extremely difficult to drop the Rainmaker into pit on Rainmaker Manta just because your opponents have so many defensive options. They have the spawn mass, they have top left, especially if they're running a C-Jet. They have elbow, they have bunker. There's just so many ways where the Rainmaker can get pinned there. So getting it into pit in the first minute in the game was huge, but they just weren't able to follow it up and keep shifting those battle lines towards Toad's spawn in order to be able to maintain that lead there. And Toad just having the advantage in a slice and dice mode like Rainmaker, in my humble opinion, just in terms of their comp, honestly.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I think sometimes on that map, you kind of need to drop that Rainmaker to that slightly lower ledge on the far right first, before you drop that into the pit entirely, since it leaves you less vulnerable time when you're up in the air, where you're very easily taken out, I think, in that moment. So just when you're trying to get those smaller pushes and you're not going for the win all in one, sometimes you do need to cut your losses and try and take these less gainy routes. However, with that being said, we are moving on to Clam Blitz on Piranha Pit. This is one of those really unique maps where I think you kind of have to approach it unlike any Piranha Pit map and unlike any other Clam Blitz map. I think it's totally unique to itself. So it's always interesting to see what both teams will pull out with. And we are seeing kind of somewhat predictable comps, I would say, out of both teams, not based on this mode, but just based on what they've been going with so far. However, April on the Sea-Jet is what's surprising me the most.
Yeah, those double jets, right? Both of those rays being popped in a ray duel in the opening, the state of Splatoon 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Honestly, both of those rays being popped. I will say any Askers did do fantastic in last set in terms of their Clams games. The Clams games are the reason they won. But here we are with Toad having that power clam, looking well positioned for a dunk, but just that defense there from King, right underneath the basket, is going to keep them out, at least for now. Great pick from Nolan there. The Booyah Bomb coming out. That Ray from King absolutely keeping the members of Toad completely out of that area. But with that Booyah Bomb flying, it does look like they have a little bit of space to work with here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen very good defense coming out of any Askers so far this game. There have been multiple chances where Toad would probably normally get a push out of it, but just haven't so far because how strong any Askers has been so far. And just holding down this area here. And we're still seeing just this insane pressure coming out of that one spot of the map. But I think it's ultimately going to come down to whether or not they're able to spread that pressure, all the way to the side of Toad.
Yeah, and that clam is about to despawn, but Taylor does pick it up. April popping yet another ray. That is the third ray of the game from both of those Sea-Jets. King going down. That's their defense, right? That's any Asker's defense. So this is the moment for Toad to finally break in there. They've had so much pressure on the side of any Asker's basket. They just haven't been able to do it quite yet. 2 down, 3 down. This could be the moment.
This is definitely the moment right now. Nolan is kind of sitting here waiting, able to get the pick onto Lit Blue. That's going to be huge there when you have 8 clams on deck. You are holding onto that Booyah Bomb right now. Maybe going to pop it, but unfortunately getting knocked down to that lower cliff is not going to let that be advantageous here. And I think we've learned well enough after that tower control game to not pop Booyah Bombs in places where just a little bit of geometry is going to get in the way, unfortunately. So that is going to be a very huge push down to 44, which I wish I saw a little bit more, but unfortunately caught up in that Nolan situation here. So we are getting a bit of a comeback here from any Askers. Lit Blue is charging up, has that power clam now at the ready. The Booyah Bomb's coming out, the armor's been popped, they are set up and they're ready to go.
Here we go. A very quick and swift counter push. Lit Blue being so aggressive, pushing all the way up, getting the pick on Kim. That is the fellow support player down. That basket is being held open. They just need one more clam to pull lead, and there comes Ace. Everyone's swarming back to get the clams, but if you're swarming back to get the clams, Toad is going to be able to drop in for the defense, and that is exactly what happens here. It is just Baja Blast all the way up underneath basket, and Taylor is going in for the splat.
Yeah, and now we are seeing Taylor picking up a power climb of his own. Going to be able to dunk that right now. That's going to leave a 2v2 situation with both teams here, but we've seen such strong defense coming from any Askers so far that is going to still cost them the lead at this point in the game, and this could be a KO if they're not able to recover from this. However, with King being up right now, this could be difficult for them. However, that is going to be the knockout. There's just so many people coming in and so many clams for them. It's just near impossible to manage that as just 1 or 2 players when you're defending there.
Yeah, and the clams spawning right underneath Toad's feet in the final seconds of that match. Just a little bit of like RNG luck there, in order to be able to go in for that KO. Nolan absolutely shredding opposition that last game with 13 KA, more than any other person in the lobby. Several of them combined even. So Toad is at match point. They're feeling pretty comfy. They've won the last 3 games. That last Clan Blitz game pretty decisively. And tower control even more decisively. So the question for me is, how are they going to deal with Splat Zone's Reef, and if any Askers is in some sort of a funk, right? Because this is going to be. They want to win this. They were in grand finals last week, so they are once again so close to tasting victory. But they have quite a feat ahead of them. They have to win the next 3 games.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, thinking about this, going back to game 1, that was a very strong win for many Askers. They had basically very dominant control of the zone almost the entire game. But, you know, when you're looking at it in its own vacuum, that was Wahoo World, right? And that's one of those maps for zones that could be very campy because it's so large and there's all these ledges and it's very good for junior. However, we're dealing with the Reef here, and that's a bit of a smaller, more enclosed, very aggressive favoring map in my opinion. So obviously that can change the tides a lot, but if, you know, any Askers is able to tune into what got them to win that first game, then, you know, I think they should go for that.
Yeah, good zones players are good zones players, right? And especially having a little bit more of that range, perhaps we see the Hydra come back on that bridge in order to just be able to hold that note. We're seeing the V-Jet from King, and we are back to the double missiles on the side of Toad.
Okay. You know what? I respect it here, but I always, whenever a missile comes out, I'm always thinking about the geometry of the map, and overall there is a bridge that is covering a good chunk of the main objective here, and that's always something that I'm thinking about. However, like, it's just one of those situations, once again, where not a lot of people are going to be sitting out there who will be impacted by missiles, so it's not really something to worry about. That being said, though, this is an absolute bloodbath coming out here. No team holding on to either zone right now, very convincingly, and just a lot of specials and members going down, but we're not really seeing much come out of it.
Yeah, a whole lot of shebang, but not a lot of objective, right? Any Askers, they're trying to break back in there. They have one of the zones, but just Toad keeping just enough. Ooh, there we go. Are you kidding me? Getting the cap for just barely a second, and then it swaps back to Toad. And now we are back to any Askers having control of objective. One of those missiles coming out, the K-shot going in for more. You know, you do have that thing with the bridge being over the zone, right? So any painters in zone can just take a little dip to hide underneath that bridge. But I really think Toad with those double missiles is trying to put themselves in a situation where they're able to missile Plat and Car in order, once they are able to go in for a lockout. But my goodness, this is incredibly scrappy. A minute and a half, and neither team, you know, doing more than B-bag damage.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, it's just a lot of little tiny pushes so far. Nolan here is going to be trying getting the push onto King, maybe noticing that it's not the best fight and taking out Ace instead. Now coming back and trying to come back into this fight with more members of Toad. However, the zones just aren't really being focused on very much by either team.
Yeah, it's incredibly scrappy, and here we are with Toad. They're about to have the missiles, they're about to have the booyah bomb. Nolan's sharking for just a moment, despite only being 3 points away from special. With that booyah bomb coming out, very quickly going to be followed by another booyah bomb on the side of Toad. Ace pushing up there, trying to deal with Nolan off the bridge. They have to get Nolan off of that bridge if they want to be able to break back in there, but 2 down on the side of any Askers. Toad is looking a little comfortable here with those missiles and armor.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've noticed this so far, but so far in the game, April has just sort of been sitting by the zones and just painting them consistently. And I think they realized that after that first game, the common strategy that any Askers has been going with so far is just to have zone being constantly painted and almost not even really worrying about anything other than the objectives. So aside like April to be just sort of standing around there is very smart. And I don't think it's a coincidence at all that when you saw April go down, the zone went back into the favor of any askers.
Yeah, but here we go. Any askers swarming around those members of Toads going to get the pick. Any askers capping here, 2 down on the side of Toad. This is looking better. Any askers is finding their stride here. They are barreling towards those specials. They don't have any penalty points. Look how quickly they were able to just paint up literally everything. And I think you're right. It was the moment April on that mini went down that just any askers was able to break back in there. Oh, unfortunate missile death to the junior there.
Yeah, I mean, this looking like just... I feel like I'm just seeing consistently the same thing so far this game. April once again standing by these zones, trying to hold the cap, but deciding to opt into backing off and maybe taking these fights with their team. Really good decision here, and now as a result they are getting 2 members of any askers down. It's just with a minute left, any askers is going to have to come back into the stronger than ever. Of course, once they do, they don't have very much penalty to work with, so they do have a good chance of getting a comeback here, which I'd love to see, but they need to start moving, and they need to start moving now.
Yeah, there's not much time left, right? 43 seconds, and those specials being burned on the side of Toad, trying to keep any askers from being from pushing back in there. 2 down on the side of any askers, but they managed to cap. It is a 2v3 situation. The zones once again going back in the neutral, and then quickly again in the favor of Toad. Toad doing a fantastic job of keeping control here. They just need a little bit more time. Honestly, any askers, all 4 of them still up. The Tetra's popping splashdown, but the junior and the 52 going down. It is literally just King with 10 seconds left, and that is a wipe.
Oh no, what an unfortunate interaction there. And that is going to be the grand finals win in favor of Toad. Very strong plays there from Toad. And almost, I think, a comeback from any askers there.
Yeah, it was very close. Nail-bitingly close at the end there. Any askers was in position in order to be able to turn that zone back, force it into an overtime situation. 14 missiles from King. The state of Splatoon 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Any askers taking that first game, but Toad, once they got that tower control starfish game, they found their groove and they were just able to come back in a clean 4-1. So Toad, first place, SOS 68. Any askers? We'll see you next week for SOS 69. I expect to see them in grand finals again very soon.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I mean, with a performance like that, it would be no surprise to me whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Siren, it's been great commentating with you. So thank you for sharing the mic with me. And where can the good people find you?
So hopefully my socials are on screen right now. So my Twitter is @SirenBanshee. Of course, my Twitch is the exact same. You'll find me on a lot of platforms with that exact same tag. I'm that on Fortnite as well. Don't add me there, but yeah. Very easy to find me. Follow me if you never want to see any tweets ever. Where can they find you, Skep?
Hi, my name is Skepadillions. I'm a div something blob main. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch @Skepadillions as seen on screen, and go by Skep everywhere, pretty much same thing. So with that, we'll be wrapping up SOS 68. We will see you next week with the funny number. So stay fresh, everyone.